Well, that was a hell of a crack. That wasn't a great pop top. If you're curious, that's the music from Christmas Nights, one of the greatest video game soundtracks ever to be released upon planet Earth. I got to tell you guys something. Welcome to Gavin Games. I hope you guys had a phenomenal Christmas Eve and Christmas. I know. I was going to stream. And then I got so gosh darn busy with all kinds of lovely, wonderful family things happening that I just didn't have the time, and I apologize, but we are back. Welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. I heard somebody saying that today, I just read this. Today, they say, it was like a quote, is the week between Monday and next Monday to be the very worst version of yourself. They said, in fact, I think the guy wrote, simply transform into a couch. Don't move off your ass. Sit down, relax, let everybody else do all the heavy lifting. So hopefully, I'm here to do some heavy lifting for you, although it's a lot of fun for me, and give you guys something to watch and hang out and communicate and debate. Now listen to me. There's Jojo D has made it to the stream. He says, hello all, I have made it to a live stream. That was his Christmas wish. Jojo D has not been around as much because he's got a brand new job out in the sticks. It's a wonderful job. He loves it, but he's got to drive 8 hours every day to get there. Jojo D, good to see you. Oh my God, Captain Hogwash is... Let me tell you something. We thought Captain Hogwash's body washed up on some beach somewhere, and they thought it was a fucking whale. No, it's Captain Hogwash. He's still alive, and he's here in the chat. Anyway, here's the deal, everybody. Good to see you, Hogwash. Here's the deal, everybody. There's not tons of video game news this week, but we're still going to be doing the shows. So what I will warn you about is that if you're here for video game news, every stream will start with gaming, but we'll probably devolve a little bit into other topics towards the end and just shoot the shit chat, because what's there to talk about in terms of games? But we will kick it off, and we will start in just a second. There's Brian King, the most hated man on NeoGAF. I only say that because I don't think anybody's been banned more from the website NeoGAF than he has more frequently. It's good to see you. Oh, well, there you go. Hey, Rob the Mod, you're here, buddy. Can we keep an eye on Dead Metal Media? This is the guy who keeps trolling. And what's funny about him is I went to his website. He's got like 4 videos up, and he's got like 8 subscribers. And I says to him, why don't you make something good and I'll promote your fucking website? And he didn't say shit. I guess maybe if he was good at something, we would, we would talk about him more. But there you go. Chameleon 8 says, have you watched Hawkeye? Baby, I did. I loved it. I thought Hawkeye... And I know the Marvel TV shows are kind of hit and miss for some people. I have loved them all. I really have. I've enjoyed them all. Probably in this order, the least enjoyable one, although I loved it, was Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Right above that was Loki. Above that was Wanda. I think Hawkeye was my favorite. Hawkeye was like, I didn't see it coming. I don't really love Hawkeye in the movies and in the comics. I mean, I've been a comic reader since I was like 4 years old. In the comics, I was like, okay, he's kind of cool, whatever. And seeing him get his own series, this thing they're doing at Marvel, we're not going to talk movies. We're going to get into games, I promise. But the thing they're doing at Marvel is really fascinating to me, which is they're making characters that you, at least I think if this is the goal, but it's working on me, whether it's Wanda from WandaVision, whether it's Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, the new Hawkeye, Loki, who I didn't give a fuck about. They're making you actually care enough about these characters that suddenly you're like, I want to see more of them. I would go see at this point a Kate Bishop Hawkeye movie with the new Black Widow. They have amazing fucking chemistry. Great fucking show. Great fucking, experiment they're running. And it's working fucking well, man. I'm seriously, when Kevin Feige dies, take his brain, put it in a jar, and study what the fuck is going on with that. Oh, right. What If? What If was pretty good, too. I enjoyed What If. What If, obviously, being as episodic as it was, I know they kind of linked it all together towards the end, was still relatively hit or miss. My dog is starting to lose his goddamn mind. I don't know what he's talking about. He's barking in the background. You watched the season finale, says Mutant, of Captain Falcon Winter Soldier, whatever the fuck it's called, after not watching a single previous episode. It was good. It was a good show. But they were all good shows. All right, well, let's get into video games shenanigans. Let's talk a little bit. Like I said, most of today's show is going to be about lists. We're at that time of year where everybody's starting to put their list out and say, here's what I think about blah, blah, blah. And we're going to get into that. If you're curious, we are doing the Yoshidas, which is our yearly game design award celebration, as well as the top 10 games for me and members, Cult Calypso and higher. That will probably be on New Year's Day. Not entirely sure yet, but it's going to be either New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, or the day after. I got to see who's around at most times. If you're a Cult Calypso member, if you're a God of War member, shoot me your top 3 list in a video form, and I will play it on the show. Yeah, that's coming up pretty fucking soon. But right now, we're going to look at all the other people's lists, not in terms of every individual game of the year, but there's a lot of fun lists that are coming out this time of year, so we're going to dive right in. But before we do, I want to talk about video game news, such as it is. Okay. I want to start briefly with this story. Oh, hey, my screen's going off the screen. Let me fix that for all of us. I want to start briefly with this story because I picked up over the weekend, or over whenever it was, the Christmas season, I picked up, not an Oculus 2 yet, but I picked up a cable that allows me to run my Oculus. You know what? Let me give you a hint. If you're looking up here, I've been working on this all day yesterday. I got the timing wrong, obviously. These are Cult of Calypso. When you see the single banners, it's God of War. The token doesn't match. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. Point is, if you're either one of those and you want your picture changed or you're missing a picture, like Chongo Martinez or Brett Newman and a number of others, hit me up in the Discord on the DM and I'll get you taken care of, get you up there what you want. Okay. So listen for a moment. So the Oculus Quest, or now they just call it the Quest 2, I picked up the link cable that lets me run my games from the PC to the Quest. So now I not only have the games that I can play on the Quest that are just sort of native to it, but I also can play anything that's on the internet, right? And that's been really cool. That's been awesome that I'm able to do that. And I only bring it up because I've been seeing a number of people talking about how excited they are for the Quest, that they got the Quest 2 for Christmas. And apparently it's been selling really well. I think they've sold not well over, but they've broken the 10 million threshold on Quest sale through. They might be up at 12, 13 at this point. They're doing pretty fucking well. And then if you go to the message boards and things, you hear people talking about, oh my God, I got a Quest for Christmas. It's amazing. It's all the stuff everybody does when they first get into room-based VR and wireless VR. It is phenomenal. And so I was playing it, and I started playing because actually I think it was Jojo D had said, hey man, you need to play Star Wars Squadrons in VR. And if you don't know, Squadrons is the kind of just pure cockpit dogfighting of Star Wars, and you play some new squadron, and they're like the good guys, the rebels, right? So I'm playing this game the other night. It might have been last night, but I'm playing this game the other night, and it was such a fascinating love to meh relationship that is so indicative of the entire VR experience that I don't know. It's kind of one of the things that's made me realize that VR is probably never really going to take off. I think AR is going to take off in a massive way. VR, though, I think a lot of these Quest 2s that people are raving about, just like I raved about the Quest 1 and the Oculus Rift before that, and the HTC Vive before that, will be collecting dust probably in 3 to 4 months, right? Because what happened when I played Star Wars was, first off, it was the dream of every kid, especially in my generation, because we grew up with Star Wars fresh. We had Star Wars in theaters. I can remember the day I saw it when I was 7 years old, and we saw Empire and Jedi and whatnot. The dream of every kid to get inside a cockpit and go flying an X-Wing. And abso-fucking-lutely, you're sitting in that cockpit and you lose sense of where you are, and you look to the left and you look to the right, and they've modeled all of the fucking, buttons and gears and levers, and when you thrust forward, you see your hand that feels like your hand pushing the X-Wing thruster going forward. They even modeled, you know how in Star Wars they have those holograms that kind of pop up whenever it's like, that's how they communicate, that's their FaceTime? They even modeled the little kind of like half of a sphere with a little lens at the end of it. So when you get your messages from HQ, you literally can look over and see how that thing fucking works. It's awesome. And so I'm like, oh my God. And there's this one point in that game where I am dogfighting we're out of the atmosphere of a planet. It was like a sand planet. It wasn't Tatooine. And that particular battle required me to do a lot of upside down and constantly changing the X and the Y and the Z. So you weren't just kind of doing a lot of this in terms of left and right and up and down. You were upside down and diving straight down and coming back up. And it was gloriously batshit insane wonderful. It was like, this is the most amazing thing in the world. And that's the first 20, 30, 40 minutes. And then you keep playing. And then you get to a point where you forget that it's in VR. And it's just a game. And it reminded me so much of when I used to go into the big box stores and shop for a new TV. And the trick they do is what you should do as a consumer if you're ever shopping for a TV is they put a beautiful TV right there, like the best TV they've got, and they'll put it next to a great fucking TV. But because it's next to the brilliant TV, you poo-poo the less expensive one. All you need to do is turn off the brilliant one and just look, and it'll distract you. It's there to distract you. And look at the less expensive one, and you're like, oh, this is fucking great, right? VR is so cool at the beginning. There's nothing about it that changes the gameplay for the most part. And that's why I think it's never really going to, it's like it's too much work. It's like mine, I had a great night with it. And here's my headset right here. And now it's sitting on the floor again because I'm like, okay, that was great, but now I want to go back to play. I tried to play Halo in VR. I'm like, it's too hot, and it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. PG says, Jaffe, you're going to buy a PSVR 2. So maybe. Come on. There we go. PG says, Jaffe, you're going to buy a PSVR 2. I may very well buy a PSVR 2 because when we talked about this previously a couple months back, it sounds like they are going to be doing more traditional games that they don't have a VR component, but it's like the guy who just did the mod. He does a bunch of mods on Steam. I haven't played them yet, of like Horizon. It's still Horizon, and you can play it from first person or third person, but you can play it all in VR. And in that, there is a sense of immersion which you don't get from a flat screen. And so I definitely want to try it with those great PlayStation first-party games. But to be fair, that's kind of what I experienced the other night with Star Wars, which was, it is amazing, and it gives you a great sense of immersion, but ultimately that wears off, just like a brilliant television picture wears off, and the story's either good or it's not. And at that point, it really comes down to, is the clunkiness and the hotness and... it just, maybe when these are contact lenses, maybe when these are glasses or something that you just put on, but as long as they're this thing that you feel, and I don't feel like claustrophobic, but it just feels, you can feel the weight and it slides a little and you've got to always adjust it. It's just, it's not worth it, at least not to me. VR gaming, says Zero, will sadly always struggle, but VR chat is what's enticing to many people to the Quest. Zuckerberg's weird-ass video worked. I did go on, and you're not wrong. I went into big screen again, and I started watching some fucking movie. They've kind of made it a little worse. The experience is better now. If you don't know what big screen is basically giant movie theater rooms where you and friends can join up and watch movies that you can rent in 3D or you can stream from your computer or whatever. And you're not wrong. The sense of place, like if you're, dispersed from people you want to hang out with, that's pretty fucking cool. That is absolutely cool. And that may be more of the killer app than just games. I think that's a good point. Encryption says, Jaffe, I keep hearing people are happy that you don't need a Facebook account anymore to use the Quest, but don't you need a Meta account? Isn't that the same shit? I don't know, because I don't believe that's gone into effect yet. I think that goes into effect the beginning of this coming new year. I could be wrong. But yes, you won't need a Facebook account. You may need a Meta account. I have no idea. I don't track it that closely, but I do believe it's fair to say that it's not out yet, I think. Peapod says, Drawn to Death, my last game should have been a VR game. We tried it in VR. One of our great programmers brought his VR in, and he set it up and made it work in VR, and it was maddeningly, disgustingly vomit-inducing. It was cool, It was incredibly cool to move through the environment and all that, but the minute you started playing it, it absolutely made you sick. Moving on real quick, let me just get to a different topic, but I do want to respond to Cathal, who says, anyone played Chorus? It looks like it might be worth a spin. Chorus, if you don't know, is it's a really cool open world spaceship shooter game, and I played for about 2 hours. I play it on Amazon Luna, and it streams brilliantly if you have decent internet. I will tell you, I really like it. The thing I don't like about it is the story, and the story is constant. Like, the woman who's the protagonist is constantly talking and emoting, and it's like, please shut the fuck up. But other than that, when you're actually playing the game, it's really it's really fucking cool. It's really fucking cool. Yeah, Jojo D's like me. He says he's talking about VR. He says Sony is continuing VR for PS5 unless something incredible games come out. I won't even bother. I can't remember the last time he put the current one on. Yeah, I mean that's what I think a lot of people feel, and it's so not funny, but it's so normal to watch people go from the high they're on right now, having just experienced it for the first time, and then 3 months later they're like, oh yeah, I haven't picked that up in a long time. It's kind of crazy. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. I apologize, fellas. Jaffe says, Stefan, please play Resident Evil VR and tell if you still think this way about VR. I would, and I know that our very own Spazbo has played it, and I want to say I think it's one of his top 3 games of the year. People rave about it. I can't play it yet because it's currently only available on Quest 2. Like, you can't even play it on the Oculus Rift or the Oculus S or R. I think it's the R. But when it comes available, which I'm sure it will, I will absolutely play it, of course. Okay. I had some great VR moments, says Brian Dooley. With games, what let it down potentially is the lowest case denominator use of PS controller in the Move. At least Quest has the standard setup. Oh, there's absolutely... Oh, by the way, Brian Dooley, check up there in the top. See that missing? Need a picture, send it to me. Or not, we can just leave that there. But anyway, yeah, I mean, we'll get off VR, but I will agree with you on that, which is it is a fucking nightmare to set up the PlayStation VR. I'm sure that's going to be much easier come the PSVR 2. The Oculus, not only, the Oculus is great because now you can even get rid of your controllers and just use your hands. And that is magic. I mean, you put the controllers, here they are right here, you put these down and you don't even worry about them. And you just go like this and you're like, fuck, I'm in. I'll tell you what, if enough members have not PSVR, if they have VR, we should do a poker night in Poker Stars, which is free. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't think you can do it on a flat screen, though, so you got to have VR. Eternal, going back to Chorus, says, yeah, story's the worst part of Chorus. Thankfully, you can skip a lot if you want, and there's optional stuff you can avoid. The gameplay and awesome visuals make it worth it. Yeah, it's a great... I'm loving it. Hogwash says, what are your thoughts on the new Batman trailer? It's probably the weakest Batman trailer of all of them, because it just feels like another action movie, this trailer. The other ones felt very fresh and weird and interesting and kind of a new take, not a new take on Batman, but it was a fresh take for movies on Batman in the sense that it felt very different than what had come before. There was a rawness about it, which I really appreciated, but I did not think the new one had that, and it was just like, okay, it's a superhero movie, and it was like, I didn't really care for it. I mean, I'm excited they announced it'll be coming to home 45 days after it hits the theater. That's where I'll watch it. Okay. Let us... Oh, yeah. Well, listen now, Down Phoenix. Tabletop sim games, VR, and that's a great game. Tons of board card games. I have Tabletop Simulator. The problem I have with that fucking game is it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Everybody has to... If you don't... Tabletop Simulator is literally what it sounds like. It is a table in a room, and you can either make your own or buy packs of, like, getting all the components of a board game. But other than certain games that have it, most of them don't have AI. So it's all like a real game night where you have to understand the rules. You have to make sure everyone's playing by the rules. And it's just kind of, I love the idea of it, but I would love to have a much better virtual board game system, because I've been wanting to play board games with members for a very long time, and there's just not a lot of good options out there. Okay, let's move on. I want to talk briefly about this story that hit today on IGN. This is going to be a good year for science. We have a rover that's drilling. We're going to get into games. This is about games, I promise. It's the week after Christmas. There's not a lot going on, okay? But there's interesting, but it's not going to be like, there's this story that David Cage ripped his penis off and stuck it in, Bobby Kodak's ear. I don't have anything like that for you. I don't have anything like that. If I did, I would give it to you. But this is still pretty interesting. It's going to be a good year for science. We've got the Mars rover is drilling into the soil. Not just maybe we'll find. It's searching for life. That's the reason it's doing it. They've driven it over the last number of months to a crater that they think has had lots of water in it over the years. They're looking there. We know the James Webb telescope just launched yesterday. In 6 months, it'll actually go online. We'll get to see the furthest back in time we've ever seen in the universe. Here's this story here. Disembodied human brain cells are learning Pong, the video game Pong, faster than AI. Scientists have actually taken neurons and put them in petri dishes, and they call it the Matrix because what they're saying is, now they're not saying, and even if they were, they wouldn't tell you because people would start streaming, unethical. But they're not saying these things are aware. We don't fucking know. You don't fucking know. We don't understand consciousness, but they are taking living tissue, human neurons, not tissue, but human neurons, organoid, that's how you say it, mini brains. They say the mini brains look like little shriveled up pieces of popcorn about the size of a pea. And they have basically made interfaces, and they have taught these things to play Pong, okay? The human-based AI learns Pong in 5 minutes. It takes a silicon AI 90 minutes to learn the goddamn thing. The idea, because there have been a number of these experiments over the last couple of years, the idea where they say, well, of course, no, we will abort it if it becomes conscious. You don't know if it's conscious. So let me just tell you something. This theory that a lot of people have that we're in a simulation, I have always, when I heard that, I'm like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't, if somebody told me it was true, I'd go, yeah, I can see that, right? Well, this even moves more to that. We may very well be the classic cliche tropey brains in jars. We may just fucking not even be in a computer simulation. We just may be, that's why, they just drop us into these fucking experiments and we're little peapod brains living this experience. I don't know. This is fascinating. It's fucking fascinating. Can it run no hit and no soul, says Danny Sullivan. Eventually it will get there. Eventually it will fucking get there. In fact, think about this. So NASA announced, I know this is not, I'm going to get off this, but I'm fascinated by this stuff. NASA announced that they are hiring priests now, right? Well, hang on. Okay, I gotta address that. Zach says, 5 minutes to learn Pong like it's hard? I don't mean it's like they have to learn the rules, although it's probably hard for an AI to learn the rules, but I think it's talking more about the ability to play the game, to actually to get good, basically. But yeah, I understand your point. Grave Doll, thank you so much. He's been a member for 7 months. He says, Jaffe, would you abort your AI if it became conscious? No. I mean, it depends, right? I mean, is this a nightmare? Maybe, I mean, I don't believe this because I don't think there's enough of a brain there, but we don't know enough about consciousness. Maybe this thing eventually will start realizing it's just trapped in this nightmare of Pong. It's like being on the game grid on Tron, but you can't get off the game grid, right? I've often thought people say, Jaffe, would you upload your consciousness to a computer? I wouldn't be the first in line, but I'd want to try it. But think about that. Think about the madness of what could go wrong if they try to upload you into a computer, and from infinity on, you are, or from now to infinity, which, you are aware, but you're in a black void, right? Because it didn't quite work, but your consciousness survived. You can't communicate with anyone. This is what everybody's always afraid death is. That's not what death is. This would be the fear, is you upload your consciousness and no one knows you're there. You can't talk, you can't communicate, and you have an awareness of time. It would be like being in solitary confinement forever. It would drive you absolutely fucking mad, man. So NASA, you know what they did this week or last week? They announced they're hiring priests. Do you know why they're hiring priests? NASA? Because I'm just going to show you the story. We're going to get on to video games, I promise. But, you know, I'm going to stop apologizing. If you're here this week, you know it's going to be a rough week for video game news. So we're going to talk about everything under the sun that we're interested in. But we do have a lot of game news to get to. But I want to show you this. NASA priest. Okay, check this shit out. NASA is hiring priests to prepare humans for contacts with aliens. And this is not some crazy, this is real. This is not like The Star or, let me find you like a real site so you know I'm not fucking with you. The Times, NASA.gov. Let me just go to this one. Okay. So basically they're saying that they want the help of 24 theologians as part of its efforts to determine how different religions around the world would react to contact with aliens. Right? This may be, we are being prepared. That's what I think. The longer I live, the more I think we are being prepared for our first contact. Whether it's microbes or whether it's lizard people that mixed our DNA, who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares at this point? Okay? But I think it wouldn't surprise me if the pandemic wasn't preparation. Like, let's take the day-to-day and let's shake it up more than it's ever been shook up on a persistent basis. Not like a 9/11 or an atomic bomb. Let's let it go and let's see how they respond. That, and then hiring the theologians, and then the Pentagon declassifying all this shit and saying that this shit is real. Okay, so General Bamda says WION is not a source. All right, let me get you a real fucking source. Fine. Okay, we'll do give me a source you like. Let's do New York Times, aliens, NASA, theologians. I spelled it wrong. It's okay. It'll figure it out. New York Post. I don't want New York Post. That's not a good one. New York Times. Come on, give me something. Futurism. The Times UK. BBC. Here we go. Well, that's from 2016. But this is real. That's awful conspiratorial of you, Jaffe. If a Republican said that, you'd be ripping on him. If a Republican said what? I'm talking very fast, sir. You gotta. When you write a sentence like that, you need to kind of throw it back in, so I know what you're talking about. Lord Garth says we need to be quiet and stop shouting out into space because it will not end well if something is out there. I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's absolutely worth it. And look, if they come and destroy us, fuck it. Let's put it this way. If an alien race has the ability to come here and destroy us, it's only a matter of time anyway. Right? I don't think unless they're like, oh my God, stop with the fucking SETI signals. It's like fucking a neighbor who keeps blasting their music at 2 a.m. Maybe. Wait, are you telling me that the theologian story you don't believe? It's fucking here now. Okay, I gotta fucking find you the theologians. Theologians. Let me just find a good news source for this. What do they call it? Reuters. Okay. Reuters. God damn it, I can't find it anywhere else except these shitty news sources. But you know it's true. Come on now. Give me something. I didn't just pull this out of my butthole. Hang on. They're probably already here, says Mutant Mo. I hear that as well. This is interesting to me. That where did he go? He says, God damn it. Not the theologian story, the idea that we're knowing that oh my God. Wait. No. But you should be seeing the picture. You should have seen the story and everything. Nikki T. I don't know if you just joined or not, Nick, but it played the sound effect. Regardless, you've been a member for 4 months. I appreciate it. I don't know if you've upgraded to the Cult of Calypso. My whole thing's fucked up. I'll fix it. But let me say thank you for your support. And let me also say I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for being a member. And if you upgraded, thank you. If you didn't, it's still nice to see you. Here's what he says. Nikki T says, when did you start going gray, Jaffe? I feel like it was just yesterday when I was watching you on Up at Noon with Miller and you look 22. I still look pretty young. This obviously makes me not look young, but this is an easier thing to do, which is nothing. I don't know when, my hair is still, salt and peppery, but, I don't know. I didn't even notice it, man. I didn't even think about it. It just kind of happened, man. Right. So Black Rider says NASA has been contemplating this for decades. Right. But for some reason, the story is that now we've actually gone out and hired some fucking priests to do it. I'm trying to find you a good source. It doesn't matter. If you believe it, you believe it. I'm not saying it's real. I don't think Daily Mail is very good, but I'll find something and I'll put it up on the Discord. We're going to move on. But anyway, every time they release UFO info, actual scientists easily debunk it. Listen, I am absolutely not here to tell you that I'm not like a believer, right? I'm not trying to like push this and shit on you. Like, no, it's true. I'm just fucking telling you that when the Pentagon comes out with a Senate paper that the Senate demanded, and they literally say that we can explain away a number of these, but there are a lot of these that we absolutely do not know what they are. They don't come from China. They probably don't come from Russia. They certainly don't come from us. And there is a possibility that they may be off-world. They may be extraterrestrial. They have said that. The Pentagon has said that. Now, does that mean that they are extraterrestrials? No, of course not. It could be a number of things. But the idea that the conventional wisdom holds, no, this isn't true. No, I'm sorry. That's absolutely not accurate. It's absolutely not accurate based on what the government has said, the American government. This isn't like fringe bullshit TikTok shit. Okay. Bacon says you can't find a trusted source. That should tell you enough. Why is that not coming up? What is going on? Okay, hang on. I got to fix this shit. I am not going to put up with this shit today. Where is it? No, hey. Highlight live chat. Come on, man. Ooh. Center on screen. Where's the live fucking chat, man? Okay, wait a minute. If you're listening to the show, I apologize. I'm trying to get the live chat back on the screen. I really am sorry. But it bothers me because I don't know where it went. It should be here. And it's locked, so the goddamn thing should be here. Am I right? You guys know I'm right. Come on now. All right, hang on a second. Reset transformation. Fit to screen. Okay, it's somewhere over... Oh my God, look at it down there. It's so tiny. Look at that fucking thing. Look at that little fucker over there. Okay. Sorry, fellas. My bad. Alien civilization reactions to us are discussed in the Dark Forest book by Lu Qian. Great book. Yeah, who knows? In the CIA files that came out, it says Nikola Tesla was an alien. I mean, I'm not here to, like I said, I don't know. I'm just saying it's interesting, and I do think that they are preparing us. And regardless, whether you're talking aliens, you're talking the science mission on Mars, the Webb telescope, the fact that the Chinese have a rover now up on the moon, the far side of the moon, it's going to be an interesting year. Bacon Magnus says, why are people so fascinated with aliens? We can barely handle our existence. I think, honestly... oh, that's terrible. Mr. K says they're recruiting priests in case the aliens are a race of little boys. You're going to hell if hell was real. Why are people so fascinated, says Bacon? I think it's because... Here's what I honestly think it is. Here's what I think it honestly is. I think it's because we have arrived at... We've always been there, but as a race... Not a race, as a species that doesn't know what the fuck is happening and why we're here and what happens when we die and what's the point and what is reality and how come all of our science says stuff that makes mathematical sense, but it's hard to believe. We're always at the very edge of our understanding, and our understanding is very basic of what the fuck is going on. I think fundamentally there's a desire when you think of aliens, whether it's microbial aliens that are way less evolved or whether it's advanced galactic civilizations out in the world, in the cosmos, I think there's a sense of it lets us know that, okay, there are either people out there that can educate us more and tell us things that we have no way of knowing, or that if it's more of just microbes and stuff, that it says, if that's in our solar system, then the entire universe has to be teeming with life. And in that, there's someone who's going to give us answers. I think it's a search for answers, man. I think that's the ultimate desire. Stephen Hawking seemed to agree we should not make too much noise to avoid a preemptive strike from vastly superior alien forms. I'm just not really bothered by it. I'm not really bothered by it. If it happens, it happens. If we go under, we go under. We want an alien species to kill us all, says whatever. Sorry, buddy. When the names are that, I can't read it. We want alien species to kill us all and finally end our suffering. But the truth is, all alien life forms out there are just gray microbacteria that does nothing. Hey, man, even that would be a fucking miracle to find that. Grave Doll says Jaffe loves aliens, hates Metroid Dread. How does that make sense? Well, finding aliens is a little easier than escaping that fucking room. We're most likely microbial aliens to superior species, says Fupy. It's true. I think that's absolutely good point. Okay. See that right there, says Eternal. The way believers in stereotypical aliens believe we're being visited as if we're the center of the universe is utter nonsense. But I don't know that, and you don't know that. I know we're not the center of the universe. Of course not. But if we have been visited, which would explain a number of these sightings that the Pentagon says may be extraterrestrial, that doesn't mean we're at the center of the universe, but it might mean that, hey, we're becoming evolved enough that they want to make contact. I don't fucking know. A lot of people will tell you they've already made contact. Okay, let's move on. I want to talk about this briefly. Look, I'm not a Lego guy. Okay, I'm not a Lego guy. I like Lego, but here's one of the reasons I've never really been into Lego. But this one may have very well changed my mind. Because usually, if you're driving around, this is Sonic the Hedgehog Lego announced a Sonic the Hedgehog set. And this is not officially confirmed yet. It's part of their Lego Ideas collection, and where people can send in ideas for Legos, and they get voted on. And if they get voted on and it's found to be financially relevant and meaningful and functional, they will make them. So apparently, this 23-year-old kid, fan of Sonic, sent this in, and they're making a set. They haven't announced the price or anything like that yet. But what's cool about this one, and even though I'm not a massive Sonic guy, this one may very well be one I buy, because if you look at the design of this, it literally looks like the level in Sonic. It literally, like, you're building something that I could put on the back shelf, and I'm like, oh, that's the opening of Green Hill Zone. And I love how they have certain things hovering in the air with these, see-through, translucent straws, so it looks like there's verticality. I wish Eggman and Sonic had that, because in the poster, Sonic's leaping and Eggman is flying. But this is really fucking cool. But I'll tell you, I didn't get into the Mario ones, because the Mario ones, if you've looked at them, don't really look like levels. Like, if they gave me the opening of World 1-1, I would be like, oh, that would be fucking cool. But this is what the Mario shit looks like. This looks like, Duplox or whatever the fuck it's called for little preschoolers, right? I don't want this in my... This is bullshit. But the Sonic one looks pretty fucking good, and so I'm excited if it's fucking real. Spaz says, I'm not into Legos either, but this looks cool. I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm a middle-aged man, Lord Garth, that received Star Wars Legos for Christmas. I was reading about this, and I don't know if there is or if they've released the data, but it sounds like adults, while not the number one consumer of Legos, they're giving the kids a run for their money. Apparently, a lot of people do the Legos, and it's relaxing, and it's fun, and all this nonsense. Fupy says, my nephew has the Mario Lego. It truly is garbage. Yeah, it doesn't look very good at all. Joe, I agree. Joe says, I remember when Lego was affordable. So do I. Lego Death Star is $2,500. That's the scalpers. But yeah, if you actually just buy these, it's no longer like, Mom, even if you go into a goddamn toy store, let me fucking show you. It is ridiculous. Amazon, I just want to show you the Lego prices. Fuck you, Captain Hogwash. Lego, fine, let's put in Lego. Even the tiny little Lego bullshit things, hang on, let me bring one of these up. The tiny little Lego bullshit things, like this is, well, that's not bad. That one's only $15. That's surprising. But if you look at like the Seinfeld set, This will run you $80, man. $80 for some of these things. So I absolutely agree. It's a little crazy. It's a little goddamn crazy. I don't recommend it, but it's fun though. It's fun stuff. Okay. We are about to get into the main topic of today's show, which is the list, man, the list of the world of the day. But first, let me take a sip of the bubbly. I do want to go back to aliens briefly, just because Starslinger, who I like the name of, says, I think aliens are just keeping an eye on us because once we go into space with nukes, that's when they'll have to show themselves and give us the talk. It's quite possible. It's quite possible. Who knows? Who knows? But it's. Let's just say that the fact that we're spending real money and real resources on this, the fact that you've got Republicans in the Senate saying this is important, we have to look into this, this could be extraterrestrial. This has never happened. I was a kid growing up in the 70s when Close Encounters was out, and it was all the Project Blue Book conspiracy theory, and the government was like, oh, poo-poo on that, and they everybody made fun of people who believed in aliens. You have got the fucking politicians and the military saying, we don't know what's up there, but something's up there, and it could be from off planet. This is an exciting time, fellas. Eternal says, did you know most of the biosphere on Earth is under the ocean, and 80% of those species down there communicate via bioluminescence? I didn't know that. No, but now I do, and I appreciate it. Okay. Do you know what I got, by the way? One of the things I got for Christmas okay. So I have a weighted blanket, but I got it last year for Christmas for my daughter, and I steal it all the time. So this year I got my own. I don't know if you've ever used this is not an ad for the show, I promise. I don't know if you've ever used a weighted blanket, but holy fuck sticks, man. That weighted blanket, all I've been doing the last night and all this afternoon is sleeping. That thing makes you sleep like a goddamn baby. It is delightful. Thank you, Afrally. Afrally offers up some blue waffles, which if you don't know what it is, Google it, come back. We'll be waiting for you, and we'll give you a bucket to throw up in if you need it. Here we go. Let's go through some lists of the year. This is a fun time for me. Now, I have intentionally not looked at these lists because I like to discover them. So I don't know if they'll be good lists or not, but I like to discover them in real time with you fine folks. Let us begin. We'll start with Steam. What the fuck is a weighted blanket? Okay, sorry. Gotta show you. If you're not looking, the weighted blanket you see on your screen here, a weighted blanket is basically an incredibly heavy blanket. It is, I don't know the weight. It depends on how tall you are and how heavy you are, okay? But what they are these blankets that are filled with, I don't know what the fuck they're filled with, but they're extremely heavy. Oh God, fuck this shit. I don't care. They're extremely heavy. And what it's like is, the way they talk about it, it was originally designed for the autistic community because it was like giving a hug, and it was something that would not be threatening to somebody who had pretty severe autism. So when you put it on, there's pressure from all over the blanket that pushes down on you. But it doesn't push down on you like a pallet of bricks. It pushes down on you like it's soft enough that it really just feels like you're being hugged and cozy, and it's just Bukaki says it's a blanket to simulate getting crushed by a fatty. Well, you would know that, Bukaki, but I can just tell you they're excellent. Nano says they're filled with alien life forms. Fuck you all. Let me tell you something. Oh, Nick T says I got a weighted blanket for my wife, but she hates it. I don't like your wife anymore. I used to be a fan of hers, but yeah, it's filled with the souls of dead developers, says Rob. Just fucking trust me. Go get a weighted blanket. You'll love it. Fupi says, I tell my parents who are over 70 to check the weighted blankets out. They're great. They're fucking great. Anyway, yeah, we almost got to the game, says Afrally. We're getting there, okay? This is the Steam sale. All right, let's do the Steam sale, okay? So this is the best of 2021. They have a number of categories. Let's look at them together. This is the top sellers. What I love about this list is they have the top sellers, but then they also have the most played. They're very different. And as much as Keighley or DICE or GDC want to tell you they're the big game award show to care about, this is really where the rubber meets the road. I wish we had this data for console games, but on the PC side, if you really want to know the games that people love this year, this is the list you should give a fuck about. All right, so let's look at the top sellers first, and let's see how much they match with what people actually played the most in 2021. All right, here we go. The top sellers measured by gross revenue. Let me start down here at number 10. Rainbow Six Siege. Number whatever, 10, 9, I don't know. Then it's Valheim. Then it's PUBG Battlegrounds. Then it's New World. That's surprising. Destiny 2, Apex Legends. This Blade Point game, Naraka Blade Point. I almost bought this, and then I read there's a lot of like it's rampant cheating, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna because it looks awesome, but I don't want to buy it and get into it if there's a lot of cheaters. So Naraka Blade Point, then Grand Theft Auto. Again, these are the best sellers of the year. This came out in 2015. I want you to know, 6-year-old title is still one of the best-selling titles. Counter-Strike came out in 2012. Counter-Strike came out in 2012. Dead by Daylight, Dota 2, 2013. Battlefield 2042 is the number one selling game on PC, which is, I guess I'd say it's fascinating, but it's not, because you can't buy Call of Duty on Steam. Call of Duty now, you just get through their site. Brian Dooley has been a member for 8 months. Thank you, buddy. He says, I didn't get to play as much as I wanted this year, but Returnal was a standout. For me as well. I did get my original code off Sony Direct, but I bought a copy for someone else. Hades was great too. Agree, 100%. Those are both absolutely classic games. And thank you so much. I don't know, Brian Dooley. I know you're already a member. This is weird. I don't know if you've upgraded or if it's just celebrating your quote accomplishment at paying me money, but I appreciate it regardless, and I appreciate you being here, and I agree with everything you just wrote. But okay, so that is your top 10 of what sold on the biggest site in the world in terms of selling PC games. Although they did, I believe, just get shut down in China. GTA keeps showing up because of GTA Online. Yeah, 100%. And that's why, who knows when you're going to see a GTA 6? Because they're like, what are you, stupid? Why the fuck would we, why would we ever do anything else? Bacon plays Dead by Daylight a lot. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. No, I haven't played it, actually. GTA is a modding wonderland, except for the online. Well, yeah, GTA is the metaverse that everybody keeps talking about. But anyway, there you go. Let's look at the top new releases of the year. And I hate that these. Okay, so we've got Back 4 Blood. Okay, that's the what is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4. Okay, 12. We'll do the top 12. Number 12, Back 4 Blood. Number 11, Halo Infinite Season 1 multiplayer. Top new releases. I don't know what they base it on. Mass Effect Legendary is number 10. Number 9, Age of Empires 4. This is interesting that this is on Steam, because these are all playable for free if you have Game Pass. Number 8 is Naraka Blade Point. Forza Horizon 5 is number 7. Valheim, and then New World, and then Outriders is really surprising. Well, it's a new release, so maybe it's just top new release. Number 3 is Resident Evil Village. Number 2 is Farming Simulator, and of course, Battlefield 2042. Now, there's the one that I'm really interested in. This is the most played of the year. I'm going to take it off the screen so you guys don't have the surprise ruined for you. And then I'll, okay, so listen to this. Okay, interesting. Okay, this is very, you're like, Jaffe, show us. Okay, I'm going to. These are the games that have, we're going to go up. There's 3 tiers. This is the platinum tier, okay? Over 60,000 peak players. Sea of Thieves, Unturned, I don't know what the fuck that is. The Forest, Forza 5, Battlefield 5, Payday 2, Splitgate, that's pretty good. Football Manager 2021, Cookie Clicker, Terraria, Stardew Valley, Age of Empires 4. And then I think there's 2 more down here. Bless Unleashed, Tales of Arise, Back 4 Blood, Final Fantasy, on and on. So there's a lot of those. 60,000. All right, hello V, good to see you, buddy. Then we're going to move up to the games that have 100,000 peak players this year. Farming Sim 22, Path of Exile, Battlefield 2042. Think about that. 100,000 people playing Battlefield 2042 at one moment. Tale of Immortal, don't know what that is. Warframe, how the fuck that game keeps hanging in. It must be good. I've never played it enough that I've enjoyed it. I played it when it first came out. Dead by Daylight, Among Us, Destiny 2, Wallpaper Engine, Rainbow Six Siege, Resident Evil, Village, Outriders. That's really surprising. It kind of makes it sound like it was a hit game, but everybody says it wasn't. Ark Survival, Naraka, Rocket League, Team Fortress. Okay, now we are getting into the big tickets. Brian E. says Splitgate is Portal with guns. It is, and it's great, but once Halo came out, it was all over for that game for me. I really enjoyed it, but not as much as Halo. What we're looking at now are the top of the food chain. This is over 200,000 peak players at one point. We have Rust, Grand Theft Auto, New World, Dota, Valheim, Halo, Apex, Cyberpunk, PUBG, Counter-Strike. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. 200,000 peak players. This is what took most people's time this year on the goddamn PC. At least, you know, kids would be different. Kids would throw it to Roblox, and Minecraft is getting big again for them and all that shit. But think about that. Counter-Strike came out in 2012. It is the #1 played game on PCs. At least if you factor out children. PUBG was, 2017. Cyberpunk is probably an anomaly. Apex is fairly new. Halo's brand new. New World's new. Valheim is new. And then Dota 2 is ancient, and Grand Theft Auto is ancient, and Rust is pretty fucking ancient. So think about that. Think about that. I just think that's absolutely fascinating. That's the Steam list. Now I want to tell you about another list. Spaz says we should play Rocket League sometime. I'll watch you play it, but I can't play that game. I've never been able to get my head around that game. Hogwash says Cyberpunk is still number 3. Well, this one doesn't surprise me that much, Hogwash, because this is number 3 of peak players. This game had so much hype that makes sense to be here. The one that's surprising to me is that I think that's in the top seller. I think Cyberpunk did sell in that it's silver. It's one of the top sellers of the year for sure. And I'm with Nick T. I'm waiting to play Cyberpunk as well. I played it a little bit on Stadia. I enjoyed it, but I want to wait for like a really new thing. By the way, if you're ever curious, if you're somebody out there and you want to be a developer, you're already a developer working for a big company, and you're like, should I go indie? Should I do my own thing? I don't fucking know. It depends if you got moxie and skill and all that good stuff. But I just want to show you. Phasmophobia. No, don't go there. I already own it. Phasmophobia is one of the top sellers of the year. I believe the initial build was made by one guy. And there was a time when I wouldn't believe that. Rob the Mod, our very own Rob the Mod, I can't show anything, it's not mine to share, but Rob the Mod sent me some new screen grabs last night of Monarch, which is the game he's working on. And let me fucking tell you something about that goddamn video game. I don't know if it's good or not. I'm not going to, just because it's Rob, I'm not going to, blow sunshine up its butt. But I will tell you, because I haven't played it yet, but I will tell you it looks spectacular. It looks fantastic. And I'm like, how the fuck are you doing that with one guy? One fucking guy. It's just Rob, and maybe he gets a little bit of help from the asset store. It's insane, man. So the point is, if you're considering getting into development, there's a world out there for you. You may not be able to make a living at it, at least not right off the bat. You probably could. I told you guys the story. The guy I had on this show from Russia who made the game Sex with Stalin, Sex with Satan, those games cost him, he told me those games cost him about 25 grand to make, and he made, no, less than that, 10 grand, 15 grand. He made that money back and more. He made over $150,000 on day one. So if you want to make a game that's okay, give it an evocative, porny flavor, put it out there, make 3 of those a year, you'll be a rich fucking motherfucker. So, yeah, but I'm with you, Rob. Rob says on Cyberpunk, it's great on PC, but hold out for the next-gen update. Absolutely. That's my plan. I want to play the best and brightest version. Brian E. says, and it looks like one person can totally art and code it. Well, again, yeah, but the art doesn't... I mean, I think in Rob's case, he's actually doing the art because he has art skills. But you can go to the asset store and, get all the shit you need for the most part for your for your experience, for your game, and you don't have to build a goddamn thing. Rob says Monarch is going to be about $10K the whole thing. Yeah, and you'll probably make your money back day one. I mean, hopefully. If you don't, you don't. But my God, what a great experience. Adam Prentice says, Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm so lonely but good. Happy James Webb Telescope. Agree. If you're just getting here, Adam, we spent a little bit of time at the beginning of the stream. You should roll it back when you get a chance. If you're interested, we're talking about all the science coming down this year with the Webb Telescope in 6 months, drilling Mars for actual microbial aliens. China's gotten some shit on the moon. It's a really interesting time. I'm sorry you're lonely, but I'm glad you're here with us. As long everybody give Adam who can a picture of the most beautiful woman in the world. I don't know if you're into women or men. It doesn't matter. You still have to admit she's the most beautiful woman in the world, and she's there to either give you a platonic hug or a sexy time hug. Everybody give Adam Prentice a big hug from the most beautiful woman in the world, and we will get on with our fucking day. But nobody needs to be lonely when you're here at Gabbin' and Games. There you go. I did it first. Boom. Melissa Benoist, that's my new wife. Generally, do you count your own work hours and that cost when you make your own indie game, says Fupy. I have no idea how Rob is coming to that number. I don't have any clue. It's really, thank you, Afrally. I appreciate it, buddy. There's Afrally saying, I'm going to help you out, Adam. All right, let's move on to the next list. This is, we're going to talk about the best looking video games. Speaking of graphics, fuck you, Mutant Mo. Joe put up Rob the mod. Oh, Joe. Fupy, fuck you. That's what Fupy put up was Samus. Captain Hogwash says no. Captain Hogwash, you can't do it anyway because you're not a member. Fuck you, Captain Hogwash. I'd put Oscar in there if you became a member, but fuck you, Captain Hogwash. All right. The best looking games of 2021 according to COG Connected. All right, here we go. And I will tell you, I haven't looked at this list yet, but I see the Ascent is up there. This game, if you haven't seen it, I don't know if it's on PC yet. I think it is, but I played it on my X. This game is just phenomenal looking. It is gorgeous. And there is a mod that you can get where you can, I don't know if you can play it from first person, but you can dislodge the camera and at least go moving from this isometric view to first person. Even in first person, it looks spectacular. It is, up until I played, here's what I'll tell you. I played this before I played Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy has the level called Nowhere, which if you've seen the movies or read the comics is the giant celestial skull that they've built like a spaceport in. And that feels more like you're living in this cyberpunk kind of, Blade Runner world. But it doesn't look as good. I have never seen the cyberpunk Blade Runner world expressed interactively as well as I have in the Ascent. It is a delight. It is it is a delight. Captain Hogwash says, I'm not spending my mom's hard-earned money on this. Yeah. Angry Mobsters just subscribed. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks for being a sub here at the Gabbin' and the Games. It Takes Two. Okay. I don't know if I agree with that one. It's a fine-looking game. Those characters are creepy as fuck. I don't like the way the characters look. I love the game, though. And it's a nice looking game, but okay, this is obviously going to be subjective, but let's keep moving on. Halo Infinite, let me just see what they're, okay. Are they talking about best looking? So they're not talking about art direction. If they were talking about art direction, they better fucking put Little Nightmares 2 in here, but yeah, this is literally just quality graphics, okay? So Halo Infinite, I mean, I love Halo Infinite. It's one of my favorite games of the year, but one of the best looking games of the year, I struggle with that. Deathloop number 7, I struggle with that as well. I think that's crazy. It's fine, but I don't think it's the best looking game of the goddamn year. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. Haven't played it, seen videos of it. Looks amazing. I believe it. Right, so Celtic Bat says, does graphics mean resolution and fidelity? Because It Takes Two is imaginative. Right, that's why I went back to the top to look. Because if they're talking about art direction, then even though I don't particularly love the It Takes Two aesthetic of the main characters, I would agree with you, just like I would say Psychonauts belongs up there. But if you're talking about the best looking game like fidelity, then no. A lot of these, I don't understand why they're on the list at all. So that's why I checked. Nano says it could be art direction. It could be, but if it is, they didn't put that in the They didn't put that in their descriptor. Number 5 is on the next page. We got to go over there. Here we go. Rift Apart. Oh, yeah. Returnal. I believe it. I absolutely believe it. I'll cop to that one. That's great. Returnal strikes me as the kind of game. I don't know if you've ever been in a ride, a theme park ride like Space Mountain when the lights turn on. I used to go to Disneyland all the time with kids, and because we went so often, maybe every 5 or 6 visits, the ride would break down and the lights would come on. And it happened in the Winnie the Pooh ride or whatever. It was already bright in there. But when it happens in Space Mountain and those lights come on and you realize you're in a goddamn warehouse that looks just like literally a fucking Sam's warehouse or a Costco, it's fascinatingly heartbreaking. Returnal strikes me as a lot of smoke and mirrors, not because the PlayStation 5 can't handle it, but because it feels like so much about that game is about darkness and things hidden in the darkness. But whatever tricks they're using, it is a beautiful game, and I absolutely think this deserves a spot on the list. Ken, A Bridge of Spirits, I agree with that one as well. Beautiful fucking looking game. It's delightful. Resident Evil Village, number 3. There's a tie on number 3. RE Village. Okay. I mean, I really enjoyed this game, and I thought it was very pretty. I don't know if it stunned me with its visuals, but there you go. Okay, so wait, Kenna was tied with Resident Evil. Number 2 is Forza Horizon 5. No surprise there. Number 1, you'd have to be a moron not to think what it's going to be. The Ratchet and the Clank, you goddamn right. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is probably the best looking video game I have ever played in my goddamn time here on this planet Earth. That is their number 1 game at Cog Connected, whatever the fuck that is. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Let me get this super chat from our good friend Af Rally. Hey, buddy, he says, are you still doing the Gabbin' and Games podcast? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. We just put up an episode Friday or Thursday. This will be going up on the podcast as well. If you're interested, if you're curious, just type in Gabbin' and Games podcast. You'll figure out where to get it. But they're basically these shows, so there's not unique content for them for the most part. It's just the audio version of this. Returnal has amazing particle effects, says Eternal, and Housemarque has stepped up their game quite a bit. I'm used to them being masters of effects, but up close and third person, it's impressive. I agree. Lord Gareth says, fidelity is relative. I play in 4K with all effects on Ultra on a 3080 Ti, so I'm guessing it's more art direction. Well, what I'll tell you about that is, Pause says, how about Demon Souls? That was last year, actually, Pause. What I'll tell you about that, though, Lord Garth, about art direction is this is one of the problems I have with a lot of the end of the year game awards, like Game Awards, DICE, and whatever, is that nobody on those committees seems to know what they're voting on. So if their art direction is a very different thing than just sort of technical graphics powerhouses. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the biggest game stories. These are the stories that are the most read at IGN over the last year. This is the list episode. Wiki says Insomniac should make an expansion for Ratchet and Clank. I wonder, does anybody have the sales for that? I wonder, I mean, I'm sure it did very well. Wow, why is that what's happening now on my screen? That's bizarre. What is that? Okay, well, fuck that. But I don't know how well it sold, actually, but I'm sure it sold great. Village looks good, says Eternal, but FPS games with realistic visuals are a dime a dozen. That's the issue. It doesn't necessarily stand out visually. I agree. Okay, let us move to the biggest video game stories of 2021. Number 20. I do use ad block, but I will turn it off when I can. But there are some sites, Hogwatch is like, Jeff, he's using ad block. I will turn it off when the site asks me to, out of respect. However, some of the sites now, like IGN, Rotten Tomatoes, it doesn't recognize when I tell the ad block, okay, you can turn it fucking off. All right. Number 20, Microsoft not changing Xbox Live Gold pricing, free-to-play games unlocked. Okay, so what we're saying is, out of all the stories they wrote, the number 20 story that was read the most was about Microsoft saying it was increasing Xbox Live Gold. It'll cost you $120 a month. That was a double price. A day later, following community backlash, Microsoft reversed the decision. That was their number 20. Number 19. Report, Grand Theft Auto Remastered Trilogy is in the works, including for Switch. I want to tell you something about this story real quick. I was fascinated to read the report by, was it EDAR or NPD? I don't know. It was one of these analysts, right? And what they said was that they were predicting Game of the Year sales. And they were saying it's probably going to be Call of Duty Vanguard, but because Call of Duty usually takes the number one spot every year when they come out. But he said the one thing that could take the crown this year is the GTA Remastered Trilogy. I obviously think that that is no longer the case, given how much hate it has. But there you go. It clearly did not perform like they wanted it to, probably because a lot of people thought it was a buggy piece of shit. I didn't. I played San Andreas. I didn't have a problem with it, but a lot of people had a problem with it. Number 18. The PlayStation DualSense controller drift. Class action lawsuit filed against Sony. 3 months after the PlayStation was released, a law firm filed a complaint. Class action controllers are equipped with defective joysticks. Number 17. Top read story of the year. Special report, the inside story of Blizzard's departures and a company at a crossroads. Let me speak to this briefly. We're not going to get into Blizzard and everything, but let me just fucking tell you. I saw a picture of Bobby Kotick today. It looked like it was a recent picture, and he was all happy and breezy enjoying his fucking holidays. What did I tell you guys? And there's nothing wise about it, but what did I tell you guys? Everybody's forgotten. Everybody's moved on. It's no longer the news of the day. It's no longer sexy. It's no longer exciting. And that's why he's still there. Because the Christmas people on the board, the people... I'm going to have to pause for a moment. I got to talk to Mr. K. Mr. K. Mr. K, help me understand what you just did that triggered that sound. Did you basically use your audio chat did you use your text chat, but you used your monthly I've been a member for 5 months? Or did you actually subscribe to the Cult of Calypso from the Diet Soda Soldiers? Because I don't understand what's happening when that plays. But regardless, thank you for all the support, for being a member and all that. I appreciate that. He's, I don't know if, let me read this joke first. It may be offensive. Oh, God. I'm not reading that. Not that I don't think it's funny. But I'm not reading it. Spazbo says, you beat San Andreas and didn't have a problem. I'm surprised. I didn't beat it. Are you kidding? Who are you talking to? I don't beat shit. Right, Wiki. Bobby makes the money. He won't be let go. Right. So they're all looking at all the money coming in over Christmas and going, we're not firing this guy. People have forgotten about this guy. Okay, Mr. K, thank you for explaining that. I think I have the setup wrong. I appreciate it, buddy. Brian E. says, why didn't I get one of those when I subscribed? TT. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Something's broken. Bukaki, fuck you, motherfucker. Bukaki says he's been a member for 5 months, learn how to read. Look, dick, that's true. But the sound cue that was playing is what's supposed to play with the GIF when somebody subscribes to the Cult of Calypso members. So I don't know which one. And also his text says new member. So I don't know which one it's responding to. You might want a little less talky, a little less learny, Bukaki, you old fuckstick. But yeah, I think Bobby Kotick isn't going anywhere because they're going to get their Christmas bonuses and go, yeah, what are we doing? People have forgotten about it. Let's move the fuck on. Hopefully people will just keep quitting. Nintendo number 16, Nintendo Direct from February 2021. Everything announced, including The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. That's fascinating. Oh, well, this makes sense. This makes fucking sense. He says, in February 2021, Nintendo aired its first new Direct in 17 months. I did not know it had been that long. That makes sense why this is a top story. Nintendo's return to the digital stage featured over 24 announcements, including Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, Splatoon 3, Mario Golf Super Rush. Yeah, I'm a huge Nintendo fan. But as much as I'm a huge Nintendo fan, I've not been that thrilled by their output this particular generation. Brian King says, by the way, going back to Ratchet and Clank, he thinks it's past 2 or 2.5 million. That's good. That's not great. You'd think it would have done better. But then again, it's on a new system. Yeah, it's probably great. It's probably pretty fucking great. Okay. I want to define that Mr. K thing. I'm not going to get into a fight with Bukaki. All I'm telling you, Bukaki, is it said something different. Fuck you. All right, let's move on. The number 15 top read story on IGN of the year is The Last of Us remake reportedly in development, and Days Gone 2 pitched rejected. A Bloomberg report published, developing. We had Ross and Garvin on the goddamn stream. We got the skinny here at Gabbin' and Games, nobody else. But yeah, that was a good story. That was very interesting, and we still haven't seen hide or hair of the Last of Us remake. So, yeah, Wiki, you're right. Not everybody has it yet. My Switch is collecting dust, says Mr. K, until Zelda comes out. I never play my Switch, except for Metroid. Number 14, 20-year-old original Easter egg on Xbox was revealed. 20 years after the Xbox was released, a previously undiscovered Easter egg was found in the console's dashboard. The egg, which requires users to insert an audio CD and follow a very specific set of instructions, unlocks a new screen that lists the 4 developers credited with creating the Xbox dashboard. There you go. 13, game developer accuses real-life weapons manufacturer of stealing its gun design. If you remember that was, I think it was a Destiny weapon or something. Yeah, somebody said you stole our design of our gun. Number 12, Cyberpunk 2077 1.2 patch notes released includes hundreds of changes. That's not a great story, but that's how much people were salivating for news about making Cyberpunk worth their time and money and hype. That the number 12 story read on IGN was about a patch release, people hoping that their purchase would actually finally be validated. Spazbo says, well, you can all go suck my cock, because right now I'm currently playing Metroid on my new Switch OLED. A lot of people love the Switch, man. I'm in the minority. The Switch is an insanely good selling, brilliant selling piece of hardware. There's nothing on it for me that I really like compared to things I can play elsewhere. People say, oh, it's a great indie system. It might be, but I get my indies on PC, so, you know. Number 11, Bethesda apologizes for Starfield Xbox exclusivity. Can be frustrating for PlayStation owners. Don't apologize. It's called doing business. That was a shock to some people. I actually thought it was not going to be exclusive because it would make Game Pass seem more appealing and make Sony look bad that you had to walk into a store and buy the game for $70 or download it for $70. But that said, people were upset. Bethesda apologizes for Starfield being exclusive is the number 11 most read story on IGN 2021. Bukaki says, I have 30 Switch games I haven't played yet. There's too much for me to play. Well, that's goddamn true. Now, Wiki says, I still have my new 3DS XL. The 3DS is one of the greatest game consoles of all time. That system, I played like a bat out of hell. There were so many goddamn great games on that. I have not had the similar. You know what it is? Here's one. Here's the problem I have with the Switch, I think. I think it has to do with the fact that the 3DS games are designed to be played on the 3DS only. And in that, whether it's amount of time to play, the visuals, whatever, it knows it's on a portable. A lot of the games on Switch, all the games, but on Switch you can play the same game on your big screen or on your Switch. Obviously, that's the whole point. But I don't like playing games like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey on a small screen because I miss a lot of stuff, right? It's not fun for me. It's kind of frustrating for me. I would rather, if I'm not playing it on a big screen, I'd rather just not play it at all. That's, I think, why I don't really care for the Switch that much, because the main thing about it doesn't do it. We are rolling into the top 10. The number 10 top read story on IGN this year. Here we go, folks. Are you scared? I'm a little scared. Assassin's Creed Valhalla adds fan-requested feature, but fans aren't happy. That's your number 10 story? Ubisoft, I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Number 9, Battlefield 6 images allegedly leak ahead of official reveal. That's number 9. 2 images from what was then referred to Battlefield 6 were leaked in May. The screenshot showcased big storms, a rocket ship, copters, beaches, and more. It was proven legit a month after when Battlefield 6 was revealed as Battlefield 2042. Bukaki says, I think the problem is you're dumb. Bukaki, how is it that you were able to type and also have your father's cock in your mouth at the same time? I mean, are you able to, because where does the keyboard go? If your dad's right here in front of you, let me get the big screen so you understand the set. Bukaki's dad is right in front because he's sucking the dick. Is the keyboard, like, is your dad between you in the keyboard? Or is it more like you're typing over to the right and you're sucking, but your eyes are looking at the screen? I'm not sure how you do that, but let me know. I'd be curious just because it's like for science. It's kind of fascinating. Okay, number 8 top red story of the year. PlayStation Plus game. Wow, this is interesting. PlayStation Plus games for March 2021 have been announced. That's the story. March was a standout month for free PS Plus games, largely due to Final Fantasy VII Remake. Rounding it out was Remnant from the Ashes, the gorgeous puzzle game Maquette, and the VR shooter Farpoint. That's fair. That's fucking fair. That's a decent story. Number 7, Amazon cancels its Lord of the Rings MMORPG. I didn't even know they were making an MMORPG. There's number 7 story of the goddamn year. Wiki says Bukaki's daddy's boy. Valzalo, come on, man, says he's upside down. Okay, Bukaki says, I just turned my head and he is on a step stool. I can see that. Okay. Number 6, Resident Evil Village actress Jeanette Moss dies at age 39. Who was she? She played multiple characters. Most notably, she played Cassandra, one of Lady D's daughters. Well, that's sad. 39. God damn. Number 6 most read story. That's interesting that the IGN audience would say that's the one we want to read in the top 10. Hello, Frank J. Good to see you, sir. Now, let's move on to the number 5. We're in the top 5, folks. The top 5 read stories on IGN of the entire fucking year. Number 5. Palaya is a gorgeous Stardew Valley MMO with a heavy World of Warcraft vibe. I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. I go to IGN 5 times a day. Never even seen this story. Only 2 game announcements on the list. Palaya is a new MMO from Singularity. 6, a Blizzard Epic Riot, whatever. It's described as massively multiplayer community sim. Players awaken a fantastical world in which humans are treated as legendary creatures. Gameplay systems include hunting, bug catching, fishing, cooking, home decorating, and romance. Who gives a shit? I'm not saying it won't be big and it won't be great, but that's surprising that's in the top 5. Number 4, GTA, the trilogy, the definitive edition is officially announced. That makes sense. We talked about that. It was earlier on the show as well. The rumor. Number 3, top red story. Call of Duty fans reveal why they aren't buying Vanguard. I could absolutely understand why that's an important one. 2021's Call of Duty seemingly released to less fanfare than entries past. Supporting that feeling are the UK sales numbers of Vanguard, which were down 40% compared to the last year. Gameindustry.Biz teamed with PAX and EGX to find out why they weren't buying. According to survey results, this is all from IGN. I'm reading directly from the website. Over half the respondents, they says, hey, we're too busy playing other games. Other popular responses were like, hey, I played too much Call of Duty lately. That's 34%. 24%, I have no interest in World War II. Call of Duty's itch was scratched by Warzone. But the number one reason they weren't buying is they were sad that now that Greg Miller is a daddy, they'll probably never have a chance to fuck him. That is the number 3 red story on IGN. Number 2, Netflix gaming service now available in the U.S. That was their number 2 story? You can't even see the screen. I'm sorry, fellas. That was the number 2 story. What was the goddamn what? Well, here you go. Netflix gaming service. Netflix officially launched its mobile gaming service in the U.S. this past November. The service available on iOS and Android launched with 5 games: Stranger Things 3, Card Blast, Teeter, and Shooting Hoops. 5 new games have since been added, including a match 3 puzzler called Knittens, an off-road racer, and whatever. I don't know how that's a big fucking deal. Bukaki says, I bought Vanguard to play with my friend. He said it wasn't great, so mine is still wrapped in plastic. Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of folks. Mr. K says, I'm back to play Miles Morales, trying to finish it. I love that game, but I need to finish it as well. Needs more diversity. Plus, it's lame that it's so snowy in the game because you can't see the city. I adore all those things that you hate. I love that game so fucking much. The number 1 read story on IGN, which is, I think, the biggest gaming website in the world, of this year was: the internet dubs March 31st, the day Mario dies. All I have to tell you is the fact that only once, way towards the top of this list, was the Bobby Kotick Activision thing. Nothing on this list deals with Ubisoft, is all you need to know about why this is a very important, very tragic, very heartbreaking tempest in a teeny tiny little teacup. Nobody cares. They just want their games. The internet dubs March 31st, the day Mario dies, the number one story of the year. The most read news story covered the greatly exaggerated demise of Nintendo's mustachioed mascot. In 2020, Nintendo announced a number of new games and products in celebration of its 35th anniversary. I was there when they wheeled Donkey Kong into the goddamn arcades in Birmingham, Alabama. First time I ever encountered Jumpman. Bizarrely, Nintendo said it would stop selling those games and products. Oh, okay. No. They're talking about, everybody got upset because they were going to no longer sell Super Mario 3D All-Stars on a certain date. That's what pissed them off. Thomas Murray, old so-and-so, I appreciate you subscribing here to the Gabbin' of the Games. Thanks for being part of our little band of fucksticks. Sir, thank you, pal. Without sufficient explanation from Nintendo as to why sales would be cut off on that date, the internet took matters into its own hands and dubbed it the day Mario dies. There you go. Those are the top-rated stories, read stories. All right, now here we go. Now, I hesitated on this one. Because it's kind of a mean-spirited topic. This is the worst games of 2021 according to Metacritic. Now, the fact of the matter is, look, Drawn to Death, which was my least loved, least well-reviewed, least selling game, was a total fucking bomb for the most part. I never saw it appear on any list like this. So, I mean, you know, and that's sitting at a 56 Metacritic. So these are the worst Metacritic games that Metacritic said these are really bad, okay? Bacon says, that list we just read on IGN should let you know that the majority of gamers don't give a fuck about the problems in the game studios. I didn't need a list to show me that. But I'm just saying, yeah, no kidding. It's tragic. Fubie says, so there was no Abandoned or Halo Infinite story in there. Surprising. Maybe, I think Halo Infinite had one story, but I think Abandoned was probably not in there because the main news sites didn't really cover it because there wasn't anything to cover, right? They were like, you know, this is IGN. There was nothing to say. It was just a bunch of speculation. Hey, there's Ricardo Estevez. Hello, good sir. Happy holidays. Thank you for the super chat. Ricardo, I hope your Christmas was well. I hope the family got a lot of good gifts and had a lot of good family time. Tell us how it was. Rob the Mod says, Jaffe, Jumpman was the dude that invited you to the sock hop behind the Winn-Dixie. How do you know what the Winn-Dixie is? That's an old fucking grocery store back in the South. Okay, here we go. The worst games of 2021, not according to Kotaku, but according to Metacritic. They've just compiled it. Here we go. This is the list episode of Burge and Cade. Happy holidays, fellas. There it is. It just popped. Thank you, Ricardo, again. Of Bird and Cage, it's got a 44. I don't know what the fuck it is. Let's watch just a brief moment of the trailer. The fuck kind of game is of Bird and Cage? What the fuck is this? Imagine music brought to life. The trailer begins. According to Metacritic, you should probably just stop there instead of playing. Screen Rant said, just because a game is unique doesn't mean that it's worth playing. All right, well, I don't know what the fuck it is, but there you go. Of Bird and Cage. Listen to a 2-hour-long... yeah, no, I don't want to play it. All right, number 4, Taxi Chaos. Is that like Crazy Taxi? Number 4, worst reviewed game of the year, has a 42 score. This is Crazy Taxi. What the fuck? In the immortal words of our own Zach Zwin, sorry, Crazy Taxi fans, Taxi Chaos ain't it. Lion Castle developer tried, but to no amount of the word crazy in your marketing is going to connect this flop with the Sega Classic. Haven't played it. Doesn't sound like I want to. Number 3, Werewolf the Apocalypse. Got a 42. It's the number 3rd worst reviewed game on Metacritic of the goddamn year. Jaffe, don't forget to wish Ricardo Merry Christmas in Spanish since he's from Peru. Feliz Navidad. Is that Spanish? I don't fucking know. Number 3, Werewolf the Apocalypse. I don't know anything about this fucking game. Let's look at the launch trailer. It's got werewolves and what is this game? So it's over-the-shoulder, third-person werewolf game. That looks pretty good. I would fucking play that based on the trailer. What's wrong with it? Oh, come on. The first major game based on the World of Darkness RPG's werewolf setting couldn't be that bad. I heard one guy call it dumb fun. Well, that guy was an idiot. This is the article. The best thing this game had going for it was letting players become a dog. Otherwise, the entire game was a dog. Yeah, I agree, Brian East. I'm surprised Crazy Taxi didn't go sue somebody. They should have called it Uber Chaos, says Bacon. That's not a bad idea, actually. Werewolf is okay. AA game, says Wiki. That's weird. Then why is it sitting at a 42? Mr. K says he's from Portugal. Italy? Mr. K, you're saying Ricardo's from Italy? Okay. Here we go. Number 2, worst reviewed game, Balan Wonderworld. Man, I'll tell you what. I played the demo of this. I thought it was terrible. This is from the guy who was one of the programmers on Sonic, and he's done Nights, which we opened the show with, music from Nights into Dreams, the Christmas episode. This was a really bad game, and it either got him fired or made him reconsider his options and leave whoever published this. It wasn't Sega. Was it Bandai or something? And he actually just released his very first game that you can get on your phone that I actually downloaded. I haven't played it yet. What is this fucking thing called? He put a game out that he made all by himself. It's his version of Monarch, basically. And it's called Shot 2048. No idea what it is. But, yeah, there you go. That is the number 2 worst reviewed game of the year. Number 1 worst reviewed of the game of the year. I don't even know what the fuck it is. Oh, I do. This is the eFootball game. This is the Konami one. Is that right? This is Konami's Football, which apparently was a buggy mess. It is the worst reviewed game of the year. I don't play soccer games or football games, whatever, to begin with. But this is their launch trailer, so they're not going to show you anything terrible. But apparently it's terrible. This guy says, man, I have never seen a new installment of a long-running series so hated by fans and critics as Konami's eFootball 2022. Our resident footy expert, Luke Plunkett, wrote an article about why this renamed Pro Evo soccer sequel is so bad and just how bad it is. This is the third Konami 2021 year in review. Kotaku 2021 to feature eFootball 2022, following the most broken games in the year in gaming apologies. There you go. The worst rated game of the year is eFootball. All right. We should follow that up briefly. We're only going to do the top 10 by Metacritic. We're going to do the top rated games. Now, see, that's weird. So, Lyro says Rockstar paid Kotaku to not be on the list. What I'm telling you, though, is this is not a Kotaku list. This is a list. This is literally just numerical. This is Metacritic. Wiki says you can get Balan Wonderland cheap as hell now. Worth getting. Is it worth getting? Because I played the demo, which I got for free, and I couldn't play it for more than 20 minutes. It's just boring. It looked beautiful, but it was boring. Jaffe says, Mr. K, if Call of Duty released an accessory that goes in the player's butt and electrocutes them, do you think gamers would still buy it? It's great. I mean, certainly some gamers would buy it. The question really becomes, would it be enough to be profitable? Here's what I think. I think what would be a huge hit, I'm not even fucking with you, if you could make a peripheral that attached, we don't use it, but we got it when we went to the dog trainer because the dog's so big, which was like a collar with a shock collar, right? And you can change the settings. If you could make a shock device, put it wherever you want on your body. So you put it on your balls, put it on your neck, it doesn't matter. It's up to you and your competitors. And you can have like an API, obviously, that sits on top of the game. In any multiplayer game, when you compete with somebody, that could be the punishment. Like if you die in Halo, it's like a little shock, right? And if you take it off, the game knows you took it off, and so it's an automatic loot loss, and you drop in the rankings and shit. Dying's a little shock. If you lose the whole game, it's a big fucking shock. I mean, I think that would sell. I think that would absolutely sell. I think people would get a big crack out of that and think it was hilarious. A lot of funny videos. I would make that. If I knew how to make things like that, I would fucking make that. I played, Bacon says, oh, so you played Balan Wonderland but not BB and Tina. Just admit you hate girls riding horse games. I really don't. It's just the fact of the matter is, Bacon, that there's a demo and I'm not going to drop $50 on BB and Tina for a game that looks stupid. It's certainly a game not for me. I think even Call of Duty fanboys are starting to get sick of Activision and their shit, says Eternal. It's still a number one selling game. Yuji Naka, director of Sonic the Hedgehog and Balan Wonderland, released a solo developed game on mobile phone called 2048. It's pretty good. I have it. We were just talking about it. I haven't actually played it yet, though. But I hear you, Andy Lee, and I've heard about that, and I saw his news story where he was really, really proud of it. Okay. Right. Yes, Brian. So the James Bond bit where the handles basically electrocute you to death if you lose at the highest stakes. Well, I don't think that you would die, but I do think it would shock you pretty good. All right, these are the top 15 rated games of the year. Let me zoom in because I don't want to spoil the surprise. Part of the fun here is the surprise. The number 15th rated Metacritic game of the year. Let me show you the TV screen there. It is down in sales, Eternal, Call of Duty. And a lot of it is, you're right, because they're playing Eternal, they're playing Warzone. But we'll see if it sustains. So 89 is It Takes Two. Just got Game of the Year award. Think about that. Just got Game of the Year award at the Game of the Year, at the Game Awards. But it's sitting at number 15. Interesting. Number 14, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, has a 90 on Metacritic, the 14th best rated game of the year. Number 13 is Chicory, A Colorful Tale, which I keep seeing and I've seen for over 3 years being promoted. I've never played it. People say it's great. Just doesn't look that appealing to me, but I bet you I'll play it and like it, and I will play it eventually. Chicory, number 13. Number 12, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater Remaster 1 and 2, or remake. I think it was a remake. I don't know. But it got a 90, sitting at a 90. That did pretty well, but isn't that fascinating? This game, Tony Hawk, back when it first came out, 98, 96, whatever the fuck it was, that game was a phenomenon. It was what everybody was playing and talking about, right? It was not Roblox level, but it was like the big fucking game for a generation, for 2 generations, I guess. And now it barely registered. Isn't that fascinating that now it's just like, well, yeah, but there's trials and I can play shit like this on my computer for free on itch.io and all this shit. But, I mean, it still did well and people liked it. But it's kind of amazing that people's taste in mechanics just change and grow. And there's a great example of it. All right, number 12, Tony Hawk. Number 11, Microsoft Flight Sim, sitting in at 90. I appreciated this game. I've tried. Fuck you, Bukaki. He says it's not fascinating. If you actually knew about video games and how they're designed, you would be fascinated. And that is the reason, by the way, and I have a problem with it. A lot of people think, to this day, I get people telling me, Jeffy, you're so salty because your last game failed. I'm not salty because my last game failed. I took it as a sign that I was done. There is a point where you vibe with what people like mechanically at a large enough level. I love games today to play, but to design, I wouldn't want to design any of these fucking massive fucking games. Microsoft Flight Sim 11, I've played it, I respect it, I appreciate it, could barely get the goddamn thing in the air. So it's not for me, but number 11 as a 90. 91, Psychonauts 2. I've played about 2 hours of this. It is yet to really get its hooks in me. I like it. I think it's really creative, but I'm not enjoying the moment-to-moment gameplay. It's good, but I don't understand the love it's getting, unless most of the love is for the imagination, which is off the charts great. Number 9, best reviewed game, Forza, 91. Look at that, by the way. There's Microsoft at 90, 91, 91, 11, 10, and 9 right now. We're all Microsoft, all day one first party. Bukaki says, you're so salty because your last game failed. I guess. I have played Bacon Magma Max Payne 1. I liked it. It's good stuff. Like 3 better. Number 8, Final Fantasy, what is that? 16, Endwalker. Whatever. 91, there you go, Endwalker. I have nothing to say about that. Didn't Overwatch also come out around the time you released Drawn to Death, says Wiki. It was really big at the time. It had been out a year. Rob says, my dad took your Xbox so we can play Flight Sim. Awesome. Jaffe says, Mr. K, what gamers the biggest problem with gaming today? Or what's the biggest problem for the industry right now for game quality? I mean, honestly, the biggest problem for game quality is, in my opinion, that gamers are being conditioned to love production value so much that I think it's coming at the expense of great games that don't really get noticed, because people are so busy not only playing these beautiful looking games, but games that are services, and they don't try as much. They won't play as many new things. I think that's probably the biggest problem. Wiki says Psychonauts gets good once you get into the open environments. Cool, I'll keep playing it. Okay. Number 7 is another Final Fantasy. Endwalker, it's another expansion pack. What? It's the same game? Oh, yeah, the PC was 91, and the 7th was 92. It was the same game, PS5 version. Okay, number 6, Forza Horizon for Xbox Series X, sitting at number 6, 92 on Metacritic. Here we go. The top 5 reviewed games of the year. Number 5 is Hades on PlayStation, 93. Obviously, this was from last year, but it dropped on Hades now. Imagine thinking Metroid is a bad game because you suck at it, says Mr. K. Jaffe's entire comment section. It really is true. And I won't get into that too much, but what I will tell you about the Metroid thing is that's what drives me the most batshit, is that's obviously not what I think. I've been very articulate about why I think that room is poorly designed. And I don't have a problem if somebody says I'm an idiot and I'm wrong that it's poorly designed. But to think it's because I got stuck, that's ridiculous. Okay, number 4. Hades again came out on consoles this year. So there we go, Xbox Series. Now, top 3 is Tetris Effect Connected at 95 on the Switch. Number 2 is The House in Fata Morgana, Dreams of the Revenants Edition. What? I don't even know what the fuck that is. It's a visual novel. I wonder how many reviews it has, though. Like, are they? I'm going to go to that one real quick. I got to see that, because if there's only 10 reviews, that's not really fucking fair. If there's only 10 reviews, and they say that's the best rated, come on, go fuck yourself. That's bullshit. Okay. Now, the number 1 rated game of the year is Disco Elysium, the Final Cut, 97 on the PC. I haven't played it, but I hear it's fucking great. I just don't like a lot of reading in my games. Most of these live service games release broken and without adequate support, says Eternal. I don't get why even the greediest AAA publisher think it's worth the wasted resources. Because nobody cares. Why would they launch in that state, Eternal? Because people show up. As soon as gamers stop showing up, they'll stop doing it. But what gamers have conditioned the publishers to think and to know is that, no, just keep making whatever the fuck we want, no matter how broken it is. We'll eventually fix it, and they'll come crawling back. Eddie says, Jaffe, what did you think about the finale of Hawkeye? I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. As I said at the beginning of the stream, I was talking about Yelena is her name, the new Black Widow, and Kate Bishop. They're off the chart with amazing fun chemistry. I hope they do a show with them or a movie with them, like Marvel team up, Black Widow and Hawkeye, but the new generation. I loved it, man. I thought it was great. Book of Boba Fett, I love Boba Fett. I love Mandalorian, so I'll be watching it night 1, but I'm not super anticipating it because everything they've shown for it just looks like, I'm sure it'll be great because the talent involved, but I'm not super excited just by the nature of the trailers. But given the pedigree and given that it's Star Wars and given that it's Boba Fett, who I love, I'm excited. Encryption says, I got Metroid for Christmas, and it literally says if you get stuck, shoot surroundings. That shouldn't be a mechanic in today's games. I agree with that, but that's not even my biggest problem with it. We can talk about that later if people still want to talk about that. Okay. I want to talk, let's switch gears for a moment. I need to center. Give me a minute. Because again, I don't take breaks. This is my brain. Let me center, and we will get right back to it with brand new stories. Here we go. But I have to center. You should meditate. It's good for you. Okay. Witches says, Jaffe, the house in Fata Morgana is so good. My game of the year. It's probably only got 10 reviews because it's a port to the Switch. So where can I play it? Can I play it on PC then? Where does one go about acquiring such a game if you don't get it on the Switch? And it is a graphic novel, right? It's not like, or a visual novel. It's not like much of a game, correct? Okay. I want to show you this because I love these. You've probably already seen them. But I love this, and it was so much fun when we got to do this when I had companies. These are the holiday cards that come from, thank you, Mr. K. I see that over on the Discord. These are the holiday cards that come from all the game developers, and a lot of the journalists used to compile them, like on Kotaku and whatnot. I didn't see that this year, but PlayStation has taken a bunch of their partners and released their cards. Well, I'm just going to speed through them pretty quick. We'll see if any stand out. This is if you're driving, I'll probably cut this out of the podcast. There's the Happy Holidays from Ratchet and Clank. That one's kind of cute. We have the Guerrilla Software one of Aloy and somebody in the back. I don't know who the fuck that is. There's Returnals, which is a skull inside of the woman's space helmet. It is weird. Ricardo says Returnal is your favorite game of the year. It's weird. Returnal is not up there. It's not even in the top. It's not even in the top 15. And what's weird actually is if you go back real quick, this was not mentioned at the Game Awards. This was not mentioned. This was not mentioned. This was last year. Doesn't matter. Forza was mentioned a little bit. I don't know if this was mentioned. So a lot of these weren't even conversations at the Game Awards. What one was way down here at number 15. Peapod says, imagine the holiday card from Activision. It's like, wish you were here. I bet you don't. Happy holidays. Brian King says the media will not do any positive stories on PlayStation. I don't know if that's true. What are you talking about? I've seen a number of stories, Brian, that talk about how 2022 is the year that PlayStation is the group to beat because they've got, at the moment, we only know about God of War, God of War, Horizon, and GT. But all three of those in the span of a year is a goddamn, that's impressive as fuck. That's impressive as fucking fuck, man. I've seen stories about that. So I don't know if I agree with you. I don't think you're seeing as much writing about, like they do write a lot about Xbox, but it's because it's a better story right now. It's everybody likes to write about the comeback. Everybody likes to talk about something new. GameSpot had the whole thing today about Game Pass. A lot of people are talking about Game Pass in the media because it does seem to be really working. That's a story. I think PlayStation isn't getting as much press, not because, Ricardo's here. He can tell you if he agrees with this assessment. But I think they're not getting as much press just because they're doing the same old thing, which doesn't mean it doesn't work. Marvel movies are doing the same old thing, and they're making more money than anybody else. Spielberg's movie, which got great reviews, is taking a dive at the box office. But I think it's an underdog, and I think they're coming to the table with a new proposition of how games get consumed that seems to really be working for a lot of people. I don't think they're doing it because they're anti-PlayStation. I think they're doing it because PlayStation's not really offering that big of a story this year. What are you going to write about, right? I did, Neil. Neil says, I hope you had a great time over Christmas. I had a really fun Christmas. It was great. Jaffe, when is Ragnarok coming? I bet you know. I don't actually know. My guess is it's going to be a summer release, though. Fupy says they didn't come back. They arrived at where Nintendo and Sony already are. They did come back because they weren't there. They came back to Xbox 360 days of being more relevant to gamers, basically. Do you know what the leakers get when they give away information? Money, fame, says Ollie. Neither. Most leakers aren't going to give you their real name, so they don't get any kind of real fame. And I don't think a journalist worth their salt would pay for leaks. I don't think we have like the National Enquirer of video games yet. So I think they do it because it maybe gives them a little pickle tickle in their nether regions, but other than that, maybe they want to hurt somebody with it. I have no idea. I don't know. Jojo D says West Side Story was a masterpiece and nobody was in the theaters. I know. That's what I hear. PlayStation isn't getting enough recognition because people eventually start to hate the upper dog. Die hero, live long enough to become a villain. Well, I will tell you, I know it's an old one. I don't agree with that. Joe says Ragnarok September. I know that there is a release window that says September. I don't think it's going to be September. I think it's going to be summer. Does Jason Schreier look like he can give you money or game? Well, he's not a leaker, though. Oh, right. I see. So Peapod's saying he would be the guy to pay. Well, no, but doesn't he work for Forbes? But Forbes wouldn't do it. It would be to, that's just not what they do. Okay. Fuck, what was I saying? Right, I heard the quote from Charles Barkley last night. It was the first time I heard it, and I'm going to get it wrong, and I don't care. But I'll tell it to you anyway. But he was talking about, they asked him why he didn't go on social media, and he said, because when you're successful, it's like being the prom queen. I don't know how you would know, where these are his words, not mine. He says, it's like being the prom queen, and all the ugly bitches hate you. Basically implying, like, to Bacon's point, that Sony's number one now, and it's a more fun story to tear down the guy at the top. I mean, there's absolutely truth to that. There's absolutely truth to that. That is a real human response, and people like to read about tearing down their heroes. And certainly the press, who is more, they want to stay in business, they'll write that shit. But I don't really think they're coming after Sony. I think they just don't have any stories about Sony right now. Okay. We were looking at cards. We want to keep looking at cards. Let's do it. All right. So we got the Santa Monica fellas doing their card. It's Atreus and the head, whatever it is, Mimir and Kratos. This is the Naughty Dog fellas who are doing a callback to Jack and Daxter. There's Jack pulling all the presents. It Takes Two has a little animated GIF of the mom and the dad in the Book of Love. Who's this from? Team Asobi has all their little computer dudes, the little minion dudes, not the minions, but you know what I'm saying. Happy Holidays from Bin Studio. They got some stuff from Siphon Filter up there, some stuff from Golden Abyss, some stuff from Resistance, but obviously their nutcrackers here are from Days Gone. And then we got the Jin Sakai there from Sucker Punch making a snowman. We got the Fall Guys. We got you can go see it. I'll put the link in the thing if you're interested. If you go to the chat, or just go to the PlayStation blog, look up holiday cards. It's not really a great thing to look at on a stream, but I did want to bring it to your attention because it's cool, man. I love when the companies do this. I first became aware of this kind of thing back when I was a huge movie buff in junior high, and I saw that LucasArts sent out Star Wars themed cards and Indiana Jones themed holiday cards every Christmas. And it's been cool to watch that's disgusting. This is London has a fruitcake. It's gross. It's been fun to watch the video game industry kind of get involved in that as well. Do you think PR has been lacking under Jimmy Ryan? Says Brian King. Why do they go to GQ, for instance? Well, they go to GQ because there's just like the reason they go to the New York Times to do that interview with Neil Druckmann, because there's a sense of respectability that comes from it, and there's a sense of we're big boy media or something. But I don't know if let's put it this way: what would you want the PR for Sony to be? Like if Jim Ryan, if that question was more, Jaffe, don't you think PR is doing amazing under Jim Ryan? What would that look like? I mean, Sony is selling more consoles than Xbox by not a long shot, but I think they're up by like 25 to 40% depending on the week in terms of sales, and a lot of that has to do with stock. They're releasing amazing games that whenever they release them are nominated for Game of the Year. Is it just that you want to see the fanboys lapping it up in the media? I mean, I don't think that you're going to get right now, but that's not because they deserve it or don't. That's because that's never real. The press will respond to what the press responds to, and it's your guess is as good as mine regarding, are they responding out of a genuine place or responding in an editorial place of like, hey, let's pivot a little bit our perspective because we know it gets a lot of response online. I couldn't tell you. I think it varies case by case. Brian says, remember when she used to call into Beyond, stuff like that. I think that where Sony, so I see what your question's about. So you're talking more about Sony used to feel more like a, how do I put this? Sony used to feel more like almost like one of those bands that hasn't broken big. And so in that they would hang out at the club after the show. They would call into fan shows, and, they were more of like real people who happened to be doing this out of love. That was their shtick. That was their, and some of that was real, and some of that was created most likely based on the fact that people were responding to the realness of these people like Shu and Adam Boys and whatnot. I get it. I think, honestly, none of that, PSX didn't result in more sales, right? Having Sean Layden be a much better spokesperson for Sony made fans feel good, but it didn't make the box sell any better or less, right? None of it actually moves the needle. So probably Ryan, who is much less of a gamer than Layden was, and certainly Shu and Rhodey is and was at the time, is he's probably looking at it more from a practical numbers game and going, we don't need that arrow in our quiver right now. I know people liked it, but it didn't translate into better sales. I think you get into that really weird place where how much of Xbox doing well has to do with Phil Spencer being more approachable and likable in the press. I've seen... I think that's nice, and you might get some love from fans, but it doesn't seem to move the needle. My own tiny little experience with it at a micro level was when we first started promoting Drawn to Death. We were heavily engaged with the fans and building a community. And the thing I remember the most that stands out as the epitome of that is that I remember we called some of our fans on their birthdays, and the entire studio at Bartlett Jones got together and sang happy birthday to hardcore fans of Drawn to Death before the game released. And they loved it, and they said, oh, we love that you're doing this. No one else does this. And we felt like, oh, cool, we're going to have a bunch of evangelists out there who like us as individuals and like that we, created a game they like, blah, blah, blah. End of the day, that sustains you for about 5 hours, 10 hours after your product comes out. And then rubber meets the road, and it's either good or not, and it sinks or swims totally on its own and based on reviews. So I think probably they look at it and they say there's no real value to spending the time and spending the money. That's my guess. That would be what I guess. I don't know, but that's my thinking. As a fan, I felt ignored by Sony. I miss the old days, says Nick T. I get it. I absolutely get it. That would be the way you feel. But it's, again, buyer beware, don't fall for it again. That would be what, and this is probably one of the reasons that I butt heads with a lot of people online that are fans and haven't worked in the industry, and they're like, they have such a personal connection and a personal affinity for these corporations that don't give a shit about them. A lot of these like Metroid fans, I mean, I've been staggered by, how much they really care. And I love Nintendo. I've been a Nintendo fan forever. But it's a company, and it's like, no, but they're really, they love us and they love the fans, and Miyamoto's so approachable. It's like, I'm not saying he's not, and I'm not saying Iwata wasn't a great frontman and all that, but it's just like politics. You think when you meet a presidential candidate and they sit and they listen to your problems, interesting, oh, I didn't know that. If you walk away thinking, oh man, Donald Trump or Biden or Hillary Clinton or Obama heard my complaints and they really understood, it's show business. It's fucking show business. You think some gamers want games to be punk rock, where it's not popular mainstream. I don't know if gamers want that, but I know that they gravitate towards that, certain gamers, and that exists for them. If you want punk rock video games, go to itch.io. You'll be fed for days. They treat corporations like sports teams. It's hilarious and ridiculous on similar levels, says Brian. Well, it is similar though, in that the sport, the greatest example, I've talked about this before, is the game Fever Pitch, I think it was, with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore. And I think it was the Chicago Cubs or something, but he was so into that team. And then they went out to a bar one night and he saw people from that team sitting around and joking around with members of the other team, like colleagues do when you go out to dinner and shit. And it was just like so clear. It's like that's like gaming is. Spencer doesn't hate Ryan, and Shu doesn't hate Iwata when he was alive, and it was, we're all just working, and people want to keep doors open so they can work at any other company. I mean, I'm always staggered by how many people think that aspect of it is real. Jaffe, didn't you consider what player likes when developing your games? Sure, I did. But that's got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. You want the consumer to be happy with what you make, but that has nothing to do with being approachable in your PR. That has to do with, is the game good? So somebody asked me, it was Afferali, I think. He says, thanks for the super chat, buddy. He says, you were in a donkey video, right? I do remember that. I don't know who he was, and people were like, you're in this, is it Donkey or Donkey? You're in this guy's video, and he's making fun of Metroid, or I don't know what he was doing. And I skimmed through it, but yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, Rob the Mod says, we made cookies for Halloween. We didn't make them, we bought them, that had Bartlett Jones on them, and we told fans to come over. Yeah, we did all that shit. We did all that community building, and I loved doing it, which is probably one of the reasons I love doing this. But it did not matter. It absolutely didn't matter. Phoebe says, I don't need Sony to pet me and give my life meaning. Just give me good games. Well, of course. Wiki says, PlayStation used to have people you could identify with as gamers back in their conferences. I don't feel that anymore. It's all behind the scenes. No audience accesses. Yeah. But you never had. It was always the same. What you were never getting access. Even when Insomniac had their gamer days and you could all come to Insomniac, they weren't really going, yeah, walk around, look at whatever you want. If you see a file that looks interesting, click open it. You can see what programmer X is working on. It was all calculated. When I would stand up and give a speech in the first, in middle of my career, towards the end I didn't care, I just riffed. But the first, 15 years of my career, it was rehearsed down to the ums and the pauses for the most part. I mean, it's all show business. The gaming space is a community, and we need that back and forth so the industry doesn't fall out of touch with their fans. Legends, there's nothing about that that's true. It may feel that way, but you would be right if Sony was dropping the ball. But Sony, as everyone, including me, will agree, they've severed that connection in many meaningful ways, and it hasn't done anything. It's not like Returnal isn't beloved. It's not like God of War Ragnarok's not going to sell if they don't have that connection. And so I think my guess, I don't know this, but my guess is just that Jim Ryan, being more of a numbers guy, more of a sales guy, is like, don't need that. PSX costs how much? How does it improve sales? No. Don't need that. Right? I mean, that's what I think is going on. All right. Let me look at this story real quick. I want to see if I want to talk about this briefly. What is on here? Sorry. I'm just looking at this other list. Do I want to do any more lists today? We'll do this. I'm going to put this in the chat for you to peruse. It's not very good to stream, but it's really interesting if you like lists and shit like I do. This is a great article which really isn't even an article. It's just a great series of lists from Gameindustry.Biz of the year in numbers, right? So I want to tell you the most covered games of the year that they covered, the media covered. Number 15 was Far Cry 6. 14, Call of Duty Warzone. 13, New World from Amazon. Number 12, Last of Us Part 2. It's interesting given that it came out last year. Apex Legends is 11. 10 is PUBG. 9 is Genshin Impact. Thought that would be higher. Number 8 is Monster Hunter. 7 is League of Legends. These are the stories that the press covered the most. 6 is Battlefield 2042. Now listen to this. Number 5 is Minecraft, is still hanging in there. Number 4 is Halo Infinite. Number 3 is RE Village. Number 2 is Cyberpunk. Number 1 is Fortnite. We're getting there. There's something happening, and I haven't been able to put my finger on it yet. There's something happening in the industry where we are seeing more and more and more video games that are legacy. That it's no longer like it was when I was starting out, when I was a kid, and when I was even into the PS3 era, where you usually saw new games sitting on these charts. Whether it's what they cover or what sells or what's most played, it's the stuff that just, it's the gifts that keep on giving. Grand Theft Auto, Miles Morales, Fortnite, Roblox, right? Here are the top 5 games worldwide of the year in revenue. Number 5. They made $1.2 billion this year. It's a mobile game. It's Coin Master. Number 4 made $1.3 billion this year. It is Roblox. Number 3 made $1.8 billion this year. Genshin Impact. Number 2 made $2.8 billion. PUBG Mobile. The number 1 game this year that made the most money was Honor of Kings, $2.8 billion. All of these are mobile games. You can play Roblox on a PC, you can play Genshin on a number of things, but most of these are played mobily. Top 5 games. Let's see what else we got. We got, listen to this one. The top 5 games by download. This is the most downloaded games of the year. Number 5 is Roblox, 160 million. Bridge Race, whatever the fuck that is, 167 million. PUBG Mobile, number 3, 172. Subway Surfers, man, my kids are still playing that game, 180 million. The number 1, never heard of this game. The number 1 downloaded game of the year worldwide is called Garena Free Fire, 230 million downloads. Think about that. Think about that, man. Hey, you want to know the top YouTube influencers in video games? I'm going to tell them to you. This is a fun list. I like lists like this. Hello, Salty. It's good to see you, buddy. Would Fortnite Battle Royale still be popular if it wasn't free? I think it would be popular, but it wouldn't be as popular. No. I mean, they absolutely nailed the... They absolutely nailed the sweet spot of family-friendly enough, but not so family-friendly it was looked at like a little kiddie game. And they put it on everything, and they cross-played the fuck out of it. And now that's why something like Battlefield or even Mario Party, the new one, seems positively antiquated. Because the idea that I can't play a multiplayer game without everybody having to buy a $60 copy... It's ridiculous. Hello, Carl B. Man. Good to see you, buddy. All right, you can't see the screen. I understand. Let me move this off here. Here we go. Jaffe, if Bobby Kotick offered you $10 million in cash, no questions, no strings, nothing, just a gift and that's it, would you accept? Yep. I would absolutely accept it. Why would I not? Would I then take that money and give it, as long as taxes wouldn't hit me, to the people that he's fucked over and laid off and the people with sexual harassment claims? Yeah, I absolutely would. I would keep maybe $150,000, $250,000 if I felt good about it karmically. But that money is blood money as far as I'm concerned. And so, yeah, I would absolutely take it and then I would use it for good. All right, I don't know these people. I know a couple of them. The top YouTube influencers are, well, thank you so much. Nolan says, Jaffe, you look very beautiful today. Thank you, sir. PlayStation was one of the first to promote Fortnite. No, it wasn't. Fortnite came out. If you're talking about Fortnite, the PvE, you may be right. But if you're talking about the free-to-play, I'm almost certain that came out. Did that come out day one, PC, PS4? Okay. Bobby killed the stream. Can you not hear me? Are we still here? I think we're still here. I don't fucking know. It's back. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But what I did say is, yes, I would take the money, but I would then donate it. Okay, the top influencers on YouTube for games. When Gamers Fail, don't know who that is, but they have 600 million views. Slago, Jelly, Mike Crap, Flamingo, Compot, Eugene Bro, It's Funny, S Sunday, and Afmal, who I do know Afmal. My understanding is Minecraft has had a resurgence this year with YouTubers, so I know Afmal's a big Minecraft YouTuber, but I don't know. Okay, here we go. These are the most discussed games on Twitter. That's interesting. Number 10, Pokemon Diamond Pearl. Number 9, Halo Infinite. Number 8, Guilty Gear. Number 7, Metroid. 6, Ghost of Tsushima. That's surprising, given that it came out last year. Elden Ring makes sense. Number 5, Monster Hunter Rise. 4, Apex Legends. 3, Final Fantasy Online, or whatever that is, 16, and then Genshin Impact number 1. I'm going to give you a couple more. We got a mod that we can get rid of webcamschat.com, hot girls and boys video chat, GGM. What's GGM stand for? I don't know. The most watched trailers of the year. PC and console. Battlefield number 15. 14, Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 1. 13, Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. Number 12, Grand Theft Auto, The Trilogy, The Definitive Edition trailer. Number 11, EVE Online. Jesus, that thing hangs in there. Number 10, another Fortnite. Number 9, Five Nights at Freddy's, Security Breach. Number 8, Spider-Man 2 Reveal trailer. Number 7, Starfield trailer. Number 6, Magic the Gathering Arena. Number 5, Riders Republic live action trailer. That's surprising. 16 million views. Valheim early access launch. 16 million. Trust Nobody introducing Fortnite imposters. Number 3. Number 2, Magic the Gathering Arena. 19 million. Number 1, Battlefield 2042. All this list really does, to me, is it just makes me realize how much of a bubble core console gamers are in. It's staggering to me that none of these things match up the stuff that we talk about a lot. Anyway, this is a fun list. I highly recommend it. Okay. I'm going to give you a list that has nothing to do with video games now. And then we'll just go to free chat for a little bit. Then we'll wrap it up. Hey. Come back, y'all, so-and-so. This list right here is the best Christmas movies ever. I figure this is the time to do it. I'll tell you what they are. Santa Claus is Coming to Town is number 10. Shop Around the Corner, which is a great black and white movie from the late 30s with Jimmy Stewart, number 9. Home Alone 2, that's surprising, that's number 8. Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon, number 7. Number 6, Polar Express. I didn't care for that movie. Top 5, Home Alone, Planes, Trains, Automobiles, number 4. It's a Wonderful Life, number 3. A Charlie Brown Christmas is number 2. And number 1 is A Christmas Story. I remember seeing A Christmas Story in the theater on a sneak preview with my family. I don't know how old I was. I was 13, 12, whatever. And let me fucking tell you something. That I had never heard a theater laugh so fucking loud. It was so packed. It was the first time I went to the movies with my family. We couldn't even sit together. We had to find individual seats. It doesn't hold up very well, but I guess people still really like it. Let me tell you something else. I agree. Christopher Gorley says it's terrible. I don't think it holds up. I thought 8-Bit Christmas was better. If you want to see a new one, it's a spiritual successor to Christmas story about a kid, instead of a BB Rider or whatever the fuck he wants, the shoot your eye out, he wants a Nintendo and NES, right? What was I going to tell you? Come on now, I totally forgot what I was talking about. You know what's funny about this troll, this webcamschat.com, is like, there's somebody spamming the stream. Thank you, Rob. What's funny about it, though, is it's like, who needs that? It's like, anybody who's in a live stream chat is not going to go, oh, well, I never thought about that. I was feeling a little horny, and that happens to be what I'm into. If you're comfortable clicking on that, you probably have a list of sites you go to anyway. The idea that that's going to get, I mean, it must work. It must fucking work. I haven't seen, Allie, I haven't seen Resident Evil yet. I want to, though. Yes, Joe, Cobra Kai's coming out really soon. I'm excited. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. So me and the family watched the Charlie Brown Christmas a couple of nights ago. And I'm not making a joke. I'm not doing a shtick. I'm fucking serious as you can get. That would not be made today. That Charlie Brown, and I know it sounds like I'm being a funny guy and trying to be funny. That's depressing as fuck. They are cruel as fuck to Charlie Brown. It's like, you're a loser. You can't do anything right. Every scene are the popular kids absolutely being horrible to this kid. And then he goes and gets therapy from the bully. Lucy's sitting there and saying, give me 5 cents, I'll make your life better. It's like she's it's codependent. She's the one who's making his life a living fucking hell. I know it's a classic and my kids love watching it and I love watching them with him, but fuck, they really pick on Charlie Brown. I don't know. That's Charlie Brown's a school shooter waiting to happen. It's a school shooting, Charlie Brown. That's what should be the next one, because that's where it's going. There's no parents around to make them feel better, and they just treat him like dirt. And they're like, why did he do it? Why did he do it? Because he was treated like shit. I don't understand. Spaz been a member for 14 months. God damn, Spaz, thank you for all that support. You know I appreciate it. He says, we should watch Welcome to Raccoon City on movie night soon. I really want to see it, but I don't want to watch it myself. Well, right now, you have to rent it and pay like $20 for it, and I don't want to make people do that. But I will. Absolutely, I'm totally in. You're saying it's a kid's show. I'm telling you something. I can't show it to you or I'll get a copyright strike. Watch it. If you have Apple TV or just try to get it on the YouTubes, it is really, now in this age of mental health and being aware of bullying and all that, they treat Charlie Brown like shit. Captain Hogwash says Charlie Brown deserves it. Fuck you, man. I feel bad for that kid, man. Jaffe, what was your idea when you added crucified Jesus in the God of War Athens level? There wasn't a crucified Jesus in the God of War Athens level. Bacon says, Jaffe, should the parents of school shooters be charged as well? I absolutely think I absolutely think it depends. If the parents knew, and like this kid who just shot this place up recently in Michigan, maybe, if the parents knew, then I would absolutely say there needs to be some kind of indication or some kind of manslaughter charge or something, yes. But I think sometimes they don't know, and you can't, it's case by case. Shango, thank you, buddy. He's been a member for 15 months. I appreciate it. I don't have much to say. Actually, just this. I like wasting the free member milestone. I have something to say to you, buddy. Do you see that? You see that C? I need a picture. If you want me to put a picture up on the credit screen over here, hit me up on Discord and send me a picture. It doesn't have to be a you. It can be whatever the fuck you want. But I would love to put something there other than the missing on the side of the milk carton. That would be great. Okay. Well, there you go, Phil. We will do a movie night this week. I'll do a pot and popcorn this week, absolutely. Yoda Blaze says you might as well hold the school responsible too. I think it all depends. I think it all depends on the situation. If their gun is used, they definitely need to be held to some responsibility. I mean, again, it depends. But I'm not going to get into a big thing about it right now. I don't know if I agree with. I think there are certain circumstances where I think you would be right, and certain ones where you would be wrong. If the parents lock the gun in a cabinet, separate the ammo, don't tell the kid the combination of the safe, and the kid somehow is able to do all of that, and you're still going to blame the parents, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. Jaffe, is that the Japanese high school candle you talked about getting a few years back? No. I got one of those for Christmas. Okay. Fellas, that has been Gabbin' and Games for December 27th. Listen to me for a moment. Either New Year, I'm gonna tweet this out to people, and I'll get some feedback.
You have won my contest. Welcome to my home.
I apologize. That should not be happening. Luke, thank you, buddy. He's been a member for 4 months. You know we appreciate it. He says maybe the government should be responsible for making guns so accessible. It's not the government. It's the people. I don't disagree with you. I'd like to see guns be... I would like to see mental health, and I would like to see guns be looked at in a meaningful, serious way, because I think that is a big part of it. I don't think... I think guns make it easy to horribly express the craziness we have in our society, but I also think our society does a pretty goddamn good job of making people crazy. So I think you're not wrong, but I think it's not as simple as that. But thank you for that, Luke. I appreciate it very, very much. What was I going to say? Oh, right. So the Shoehays and the Gabbin' and Games, that will probably be New Year's Day, maybe a day before, maybe a day after, depending on when most people can attend. I'm going to find that out this week. But if you are a God of War member or a Cult of Calypso member and you want to send me a relatively short, like keep it under a minute if you can, top 3 games of the year, I will make sure that is included in our Game of the Year special that is coming up New Year's Day, before, after, whatever. Lucas says it's as simple as that in Europe. Yeah, I understand that, but Europe has a very different culture. Europe has you guys have hate speech laws in Europe. We don't have them here. It's absolutely not as simple as that here, because we have to amend the Constitution, which is very difficult to do. And I ultimately think, again, if we had a healthier society, guns would still be a problem, and I do think there's things we can do that are practical that I think are much, when it comes to guns, that I think most people would support. But I think also if we don't also address the mental health issue that makes people want to do this, I think that becomes... they'll just find another way. Send you a video or just a list, Jaffe. A video. Otherwise, I can't really... I mean, I can read a list if that's all you can send me. Either will do, but I prefer video. But yeah, Europe's... England, let's just take England. England's not the greatest place in the goddamn world, but England does have socialized medicine, right? One of the... a lot of people don't seek mental health because they can't afford it. A lot of people are under stress here in America because they can't afford their fucking doctor's bills. There's a lot of things that we do that create a level of stress and hopelessness. Hell, I talked to a guy who I was amazed by this, although it probably wouldn't amaze you, Luca, if you're from Europe. I talked to a guy who made that wonderful game last year, Pumpkin Jack. And the way he made Pumpkin Jack is he used to work for a game company and he got laid off. Well, the government said, don't worry about it. We'll give you a year of pay. You can sit at home if you want, but we'll make sure you're covered for a year. You're not going to go broke. You're not going to be on the street. Your medicine's paid for. You're fine. Even when you're not working, in the years past, your medicine's still paid for. You're going to be okay. And then the guy went off and built a new business. That's a lot easier to not, I mean, you'll still go crazy, but if you don't have those kind of social safety nets in your world, like we don't have in America, that's a big problem. And that's what leads to a lot of these people taking a gun, which is very easily accessed, and going off and doing horrible things. They would do it with a knife, but ideally we could tackle both of these. Yoda Blaze, he says, I think kids going to school every day knowing they could be in a school shooting situation contributes more to mental health issues with America's younger generation. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. I mean, it is... and by the way, if you don't know, we're off video games at this point. This is QA. We'll talk for a little bit, whatever the fuck you want to talk about. But I got nothing, no more topics. I'm going to be eating this blow pop and talking to you guys. I have kids, and I was talking to my ex the other day, because we were kids of the 80s. We were teenagers in the 80s. And it's just, these kids today,
Don't touch me there.
Oh, I'll get that in just a second, Luca. These kids today, they have absolutely 100% missed out. And it's tragic, man. Terrorist attacks are normal. The level of political divisiveness in America is normal. School shootings is normal. The pandemic is normal. We were kids of the 80s. I mean, I'm not saying it was great on all accounts. There was a lot of shit going on back then. If racism was worse, I imagine. Homophobia was awful. I remember seeing that in my schools. But we had a good time, and we could get dropped off at places and nobody worried about us. And we didn't have 24/7 cable news making everybody afraid. So parents would just let their kids run out and play all day in the neighborhood during the summer. It was a different time. And you're right. These kids today, they missed out a lot. Lucas says, I lived in Croatia, London, and LA, and I agree with you. It's very complicated. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. I appreciate it. It is, absolutely. It's well, I don't know if it's complicated. It's complicated to fix, but it's not complicated to understand. I think there's a crossroads, or there is an intersection between easy access to guns and lack of access to mental health care, and still shame around mental health care in this country. And that really puts us in a perfect storm of violence, basically. Is what Bacon Magma saying true, Peapod says. Let me see. What did Bacon Magma say? Jaffe, is it true you're going to check out that link of hot boys and girls after the stream? No, I'm not going to check. I don't even know if there was a link there. But I'll tell you something. I don't even know what it means, because if you actually, the way it's written, like you can say, see the hottest girls on the internet, and you're talking about women, young women. This could be a fucking pedo link. I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't want to come anywhere near that fucking thing. Well, yeah, Eternal's talking about the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is, like a lot of the amendments and a lot of the Constitution, I mean, it's open to interpretation. Some people think it says that there's no right answer at this point. And ultimately, there doesn't have to be. The Constitution is not written, not that I believe in God. The Constitution is not written by God. The Constitution literally says, in its own way, hey, we're not perfect, so you probably need to change this thing sometimes as the future rolls on and we can't predict it. So, hey, fellas, we're going to put some mechanisms in there to allow you to change the Constitution. It's become so fucking hard to do that. It's become, I mean, it was always political, obviously. It was always big money. Back then, even, go watch the movie Lincoln and watch how much money was spent to affect votes. But I don't think it was like this. I mean, so... the Constitution should be changed. The Second Amendment should be changed to reflect what the majority of Americans, or at least, if it's not majority, the people that we have voted in feel is an accurate reflection of people's views on guns today. Should be changed. Free speech might need to be changed. I mean, I would hope it wouldn't, but that's the whole goddamn point. It's supposed to be malleable. I appreciate that super chat. That comes from, where did it go? Nikki T says, here's some ducats for the great stream, buddy. Your streams always make my day brighter. Nikki T, I appreciate that very, very much. I love doing them. I love knowing that they make your day brighter. That makes me real happy. They make my day brighter too. Hopefully we'll see you later in the week, and thank you for the super chat. Goddamn You goddamn clown. Says, Jaffe, I hope your next game isn't a massive, gigantic flop. I don't plan on making another game, but of course, if I make it, I hope it's not. You know what's funny, though? Maybe it's just because a lot of people who come at me and troll me are young, maybe. But the vast majority, of the stuff I've done have been really big hits. But it's weird. It's like the adage. It's like you only seem to remember the failure. But, I made some big fucking games and big fucking franchises, and people are like, "Oh, you're a failed game designer because I had a game that didn't work." Fuck. Apply that to your job. Have everything you've ever done at your job, you never failed? Come on now. All right. Well, I'm not going to get into gun debate right now. I feel a lot about what makes our nation mentally ill is everyday grind of having to work without having a safety net. Yeah, I agree, Nolan. To make sure if some shit does happen, we don't have to lose everything. No, we are. I will say that about America. America is in my opinion, is a very cruel country. It is too dog eat dog. It is too capitalistic. It is, for a country that claims it's Christian, it sure isn't a very compassionate country. That's the goddamn truth. Jay says, let's make a game. Don't wanna. Wiki says you can make a good Switch game. Don't wanna. I don't like doing it anymore, at least right now. What I recommend, now Jay, you may be a developer, I don't know, but I can tell you, I wish, and there, it's like anything else. It's like writing. Everybody thinks writing is something they can do, like writing a fiction, and it's not. I gotta get Joe that list. Shit. But from the outside looking in, it's like, oh, it must be fun to make a game. It can be, but after a while, you want to move on, man. All right. I do think I can make a good visual novel, but I really don't want to. I want to do this. I don't want to cure cancer. I want to make dinosaurs. Mr. K says, I can't understand Americans who want law-abiding American guns taken away. I really can't. It's scary how willing people are to give up their rights. Well, I can understand them, Mr. K, but I don't. But I think when you phrase it that way, because I think, look, here's a problem. Here's a problem. So you have mostly unregulated capitalism that controls politics. So you have a lot of things that make our society bad to begin with. This isn't even dealing with guns, right? We talked about mental health, general health. Companies can lay you off without any real ramifications, like other countries have ramifications, without any kind of guaranteed severance. We don't have that. Okay, that's A. B, we have unregulated media, which is probably a good thing. But the cost it comes at is, the cliche, if it bleeds, it leads. Conflict sells. To quote, I think it's a Don Henley song, it's interesting when people die. People want to watch the salacious stuff. They want to watch the car wreck as they drive by. And so the media that call themselves news, which is really entertainment and is a for-profit business for the most part, unless you count a couple of them, they will show us the stuff that is salacious and scary. And they will make us think the world in America is a very different place than it really is. School shootings is a great example. The school shootings are tragic, but they're growing, but they're still relatively rare compared to other ways you can bite it, right? Well, you've got those two things, and then you've got the guns. The idea that you're saying Americans want to take people's guns away, it's not because they're morons. I think people have a right to defend themselves. But a lot of these shootings that have happened have been from law-abiding Americans. It's a kid that gets their parents' gun. So when somebody proposes fingerprint ID on guns, when somebody proposes, anything that even steps a toe into the Second Amendment, like saying, better gun training or longer waiting periods to get your gun or this or that or the other, it gets shot down. So, you know, I can certainly understand why people who don't really spend a lot of time thinking through the problem go, oh, let's just get rid of the guns. Trust me, I'm not opposed to that if that would work, but that's not what the problem is. Phoebe says you're the land of the free, yet you can't swear, show boobs, or drink a beer in public. I very much appreciate that racial slurs and hate speech are illegal where you are. Yeah, I mean, the idea that I'm tired of that shit too, and the younger generation doesn't buy it, and that's wonderful, which is America is the greatest country in the world, and we're free, and that's what... Okay, really? I mean, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but really? A lot of countries are free, and a lot of countries have limits, and we have limits here as well. And most people in America have never left America. And just shut the fuck up and let's accept that we have a very broken country that's very cruel, and let's work to fix it. Right, Diego says North Americans live under the illusion they are free when they live under one of the most regulated and blood-soaked countries in the world. It is not untrue. I don't know if it's the most blood-soaked country, but it is not untrue. People in America will sit there with their flags and cry at the 4th of July, and it's propaganda. It's absolute propaganda. Doesn't mean America hasn't done amazing things. Doesn't mean America isn't great in a lot of ways. But a lot of countries are great in a lot of ways. And a lot of countries are shit in a lot of ways. Bacon says, Jaffe, are you still against school shooter games? I've never been against school shooter games. I don't want to make one. I don't want to play one. I support the right for anybody to make whatever the fuck they want to make. I'm not opposed to it, but don't ask me to play it. I don't want to fucking play that thing. All right. That has been Gabbing and Games for today. Thank you for hanging out with me. I will be back with another show tomorrow. I'm going to try to keep them this week at the same time. So we're going to shoot for 2:30, 2 o'clock. I'll give you a heads up. In the meantime, don't forget, Cult Calypso, God of War members, if you want to change your picture on this screen, or if you don't have a picture on this screen right here, hit me up on Discord. I want to get you in there if you care about such things. And Cult Calypso, God of War members, don't forget, if you want to hit me up with your video or list of top 3 games of the year, I will make them part of the show we're doing coming up. Also, don't forget we have a podcast, which is this show. If you like the show, but you want to listen to it when you're driving, fucking your girlfriend, whatever it is you do when you can't put your eyes on the TV screen, the monitor, go over there to the link tree below, and please go visit our wonderful supporters at their link tree down below. It's a one-stop shop. Go down there and go over and visit the good folks over at Rotten Tanuki. God damn it, I struggle with that one. Alex Plox. Who else we got right now going on? We got the Leaders podcast, which I think I'm going to be on this year. And we got... who the fuck do we got right now? Who's doing ads right now on this show? I can't remember. Not out of a lack of respect. I just can't fucking remember. Who's the other one? We got like 4, I think, right now. And we got Spazbo, World of Long Plays over there as well. That's a great fucking site. Check that shit out. In the meantime, have a great night. I may be streaming games tonight. We'll see. Otherwise, I'll see some of you guys tomorrow. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the memberships. Rob the Mod, thank you for modding. Good to see you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody. I'm going to try to not cut this off in a way that it fucks around with, because you know how I end it wrong, and everybody's like, you're ending the stream wrong. So I want to fix that for you. I want to do good for you, right? So we're going to end on this screen, and then I'm going to end with this. Here we go. Take it easy, y'all. Happy holidays.